Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. I think some of you have already joined us. Thanks for being early, guys. Welcome to the AMAS session. If you guys can see and hear me, type a GM for good morning. Just let me acknowledge all of you for joining us. And today we'll be looking at the US market, right? The US market. So if you are looking at US stocks, right? Any US stocks, right? Apple, Microsoft, or any US stocks, well, you are in the right place, right? You're in the right place. So let me know this type of GM for good morning, guys. Let me just know that this is working and you can see my screen, you can hear me loud and clear as well. All right, we're so excited to get started today to share with you what is going on in the market, right? Okay, let's see who is joining us here today. We have hi, good morning. We have hi Mukatri as well. What MSFT, Microsoft, good morning. Let's see, right? We have hi Yuzo, good morning. Josephine, Joseph Lim, good morning. Andrew, morning. Hi Miguel, morning. Simon, morning. All right, so welcome. This is working. Welcome to our AMAS session. All right, and pretty much what is this about? Well, essentially every Friday since last year, in fact, more than a year already, right? We've been doing this, session just to really add value to our clients, to the public, to anyone basically who is focusing on stocks, which is pretty much me and my team's forte, right? We are looking at stocks. We do Singapore, US, a bit of Hong Kong stocks, but every week we go live and we talk about a certain market. So last Friday was the Singapore stock market, and we covered Singapore stocks, right? So today we'll be back to the US market. So we alternate, right? We alternate between the US and the Singapore market. And what is it about? Well, essentially, as the name goes, right? Ask me, actually ask us, right? We have my team over here. Initially, it was like one person, but now with my team over here, so it's not so strong for me, right? And then, you all can get some ideas from my team as well, right? So it's ask me, any stock, and you pretty much type the name of the stock, give us a bit of context, and we cover the stocks that you guys are asking about. What do we cover? Well, we cover the technicals of it. We pull out the charts. We open the One Good Trend Pro indicator, basically this strategy that I've been using for more than 15 years now, and we give you a quick opinion on your stocks. That's it, right? When's a good time to get in? Maybe you're asking about when to get out. Maybe you have no idea whether it's time to buy, right? And that's what we'll do. So how you can help us in this session is that you want to give us a bit of context in terms of the stock that you're asking about, right? But you've just put like one, Apple, right? Then like, what do you want to know about Apple, right? So give us a bit of context, right? You want to buy Apple, you want to know, bought it last month, last year, what price, you're looking to get out, take profit, or, so at least when we go to analyze the stock, we have a bit of context. I think that's where you can get more value. Make sense? All right. So good morning. I think we have a lot more people joining us. Hi, John, Manfred. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, Jocelyn. I think a lot of you are very familiar. Every Friday you can see your name over here. Thank you so much, Jun as well. Hi, Benjamin. Benjamin, you are a regular over here. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for joining us every time. Okay, very good. So good morning. Okay, so let's get started. So we do a quick market outlook. All right. And first thing first, before we get started, would it be okay if you have us to like and share? Help us to like and share. I mean, that really help us to reach out to more people. All right. And of course, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. That there should be a bell icon, I think somewhere at the top right or something. If you have hit it, then it's good. If not, then hit the subscribe button so that when we go live in the future, I mean, every Friday, you can be alerted as well. All right, so do that. Hit the like and share button. Thank you so much for all the hearts and little things floating up. Really appreciate it. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so we do a quick market outlook, right? Market outlook, what has happened in the market, what are the key levels for the entire market, the S&P 500 index, right? That is a very popular index that, pretty much covers the top 500 companies in the US, right? And even the NASDAQ. Let's do the NASDAQ. I mean, we've not talked about NASDAQ for a while, so let's talk about NASDAQ, which is the tech-heavy index, all right? And see how it looks as well. Could there be more upside in 2026? It's almost, in fact, today is the 30th of January, right? Which is like the last day of January, right, guys? 1 month past already, yeah? Time flies. 1 month of the brand new year has passed, right? Next week is like Chinese New Year already. So could there be more upside as we hit further into 2026, right? What are some of the news affecting the markets? Let's find out. All right. And of course, after that, we'll go ahead to cover the US, right? So as I said, today is the US market. So US stocks that you guys want quick opinion on, give us a bit of context. We'll do our best to cover as many as possible, maybe more than 10, maybe more than 12 stocks. We try our best, okay? And at the end, right? At the end, stay all the way to the end. Why? Because at the end, after covering all your US stocks, right? Then me and my team, right? We have Z and Jai over here that will each share with you one, right? So total 3, right? US stocks that you might want to put in your watch list for potentially more upside. All right, so that's how it works. Okay, Ken. Okay, so who are we? Well, if you have not met before, my name is Joey Choy. Right, in case you're just scrolling through YouTube or Facebook, right, you have no idea why am I talking, right? Why should you even be listening? Well, my name is Joey Choy. I've been doing this for more than 15 years now. Pretty much focusing on stocks. I use the one good trend strategy, and I'm also known as the guy who came out of like a $740,000 debt. Right? You can just Google about it, right, and read more about it. But essentially, right, I'm pretty much a stock guy, right? Stock guy, focusing on charts, technical, price action, candlestick, and we have a strategy, right? A 7-step checklist for my strategy that just guides us on when to get in, when to get out. And later you'll find out more about it, right? When we analyze stock, you can see my thought process as well, right? So that's me, right? Joey right over here. But today I don't just have me, right? I have my team joining me as well, and I have Z right over here joining later. I'll pass on the mic to Z, but let me just introduce Z. Z is one of the top brokers, under me in Phillip Securities as well. Together with me, assisting our thousands of clients in Phillip Securities, assisting our teams. Our group coaching sessions with our graduates, our one-on-one sessions with our mentees, and even assisting our team's portfolio manager with a 7-figure portfolio management business. All right, and Z is a chartered market technician. In short, is CMT. Right. Basically, what this means is that she's an expert in chart, right? Anything to do with chart, candlestick, price action, pattern, whatever. She's the best. In fact, sometimes also I consult her a little bit on certain patterns, right? So let me pass on the mic to Z, maybe just to share a bit on herself and how maybe she can add value to all of you here today. Z, go ahead.
Hi, thanks Joey. Hi everyone, my name is Z. I hope that my internet is okay, because on my end it seems a bit iffy today. But if you guys got any issues trying to listen to me, just feel free to let us know in the chat. All right. So yeah, so like what Joey mentioned, right? Basically chartered market technician. Simplify it, what it means is that I just like looking at charts, right? And after looking at the charts to determine whether the chart is it a beautiful looking chart or is it a not so beautiful chart, right? Then this is a phrase that you will always kind of like hear me say when you come and join us live every Friday, right? And the thing is that when we look at chart, I think one common thing that I always hear from clients that we speak to is that they don't know what to focus on their chart, because there's so many things. They can add this indicator, add that indicator, and then at the end of the day, the entire chart looks so messy, right? And they don't really know what to focus on. Whereas today, I think for those of you regulars, you are very, very familiar, right? And for those of you who are new, you actually see how Joey's 1GT Pro indicator, right, is something that is a very powerful tool whereby you can actually use it with just a click of a button. You can actually see, a buy and a sell signal, and it gives you some sort of direction, right, as to what you can do, right? I mean, of course, on top of that, there's the 1GT framework and everything, right? I mean, not just the signal itself, but it's something that will be able to assist you in making trading decisions. So I think that's something that is a very valuable tool, and that's something that if you are keen to know more about, right, I mean, definitely stay tuned, right, and find out how this 1GT Pro indicator can actually help you to analyze the stocks. Okay, so as you can tell, for those of you who have been joining us for the past few sessions, we have been rotating ourselves, right, between myself and also Jia Yi and as well as Berwin, right? But Joey definitely is the MVP, the most valuable player. Every session you will see him here, right? So today, because I think Berwin will be, Berwin is actually doing other stuff, right? But then I think he will be on holiday soon, taking a break soon. So next few session definitely will be seeing me and Jia Yi, and of course Joey as well. So yeah, without further ado, I think I'll pass the time back over to Joey, right, so that he can actually introduce Jia Yi as well.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, well said. All right, so we try keeping simple. Right, keep things simple. We focus on charts, but we don't overcomplicate stuff. And overwhelm and overthink. All right, no. A clear, simple, repeatable process, right, based on the strategy. That's what my team does. That's what I do. That's what many of our graduates and mentees do as well. So find out a bit more, right? Later, hopefully, we can cover your stocks. You can go through our thought process and see why we analyze certain stocks in a certain way, why we say buy, why we say sell as well. All right, okay. Now, Berwin's not here because Berwin is now working on something else today, right? So, of course, we have Jia Yi right over here today, right? Jia Yi is also one of the top brokers under me in Phillip Securities, more than 2-3 years already, assisting our thousands of clients and also assisting our teams, portfolio management business as well. And Jia Yi, I would say, he has a special, what we call, expertise in what we call candlestick, right? So very strong in terms of candlestick. I do consult him a little bit on some more difficult price action candlestick. And let me pass on the mic to Jia Yi just to share a bit on himself. Jia Yi.
All right, thank you, Joey. So good morning, everyone. So happy Friday to all of you guys and welcome to AMS. So I'm Jia here and really glad to see everyone here today. So for those who might already know me, I have been assisting, or those who don't know me, actually I've been assisting Joey with operation, client servicing, and also trade execution since like 2023. So over the past 2 to actually 3 years, I've learned a lot and built meaningful connection, supporting the team and our clients in every way I can. So I think for today's session, we'll be focusing on actually US market. So I think it's always important for us to actually stay aware of how the global movement is, because of what happened in US often sets the tone and also the sentiment, opportunity, and also risk across the markets. So I think let us pay attention to the bigger picture and think about how it actually connects back to our strategy and also decision making. So just a quick reminder on why we actually do this every week as well for AMS. So actually it's not just a session that we attend, but it's actually a habit that we build. Showing up consistently help us stay disciplined and also continue to learn and also keep improving week after week. So let us use today's session to stay focused and sharpen our mindset. And I believe with that, I'll pass on my time back to Joey to cover the US market.
Okay, thank you so much, Jai. Well said. Right, so let's get started. Right, so yeah, always here, to as I say, these sessions are free. I mean, just to really add value to the public, to our clients. I believe a lot of you are clients of mine, in Philip Securities as well. Right, you probably have a trading account under me in Philip Securities, receiving our daily updates and ideas by WhatsApp, right, for our clients, right? So that's where we try to add value to our clients. Of course, some of you may not be a client, right? You might be just on YouTube and Facebook scrolling, you have no idea who I am, all right? But essentially, right, the point is that we try our best to add value in all these in these sessions, all right? So if you are one of those who want to take things a little bit deeper, like many of our clients over here in Philip Securities, who get our ideas and updates by WhatsApp, which is much faster, well, you can click on the link in the chat. I think just place the link in the chat. Find out a little bit more on how you can become a client of mine in Philip Securities. It's for free. I mean, it's free to open a trading account anyway. You get some service at least. So especially if you're not getting any, ideas or service from your own broker, nobody calls you, nobody WhatsApp you, nobody sends you anything, and then find out a bit more, right? Join many of our clients over here who can join us weekly like this, but also on top of that, get some service, get some ideas by WhatsApp daily, all right, for free at no additional cost. All right. Okay, let's get started, right? So just a quick disclaimer, right, for today, where whatever we share, as I always say, right, it's just for education purpose only, right? So please do your own due diligence. It's not really asking you to buy or sell anything, all right, or not to buy or not to sell, but essentially we're just showing you our thought process, our framework, the playbook, the checklist that we use, all right, and you can decide on your own actions. All right, cool. All right. Okay, so let's get started. Let's cover maybe the markets, the market right now. And I would say that we can look at, let's see, maybe the S&P 500 index right over here, right? S&P 500 index. Very quickly, this is the S&P 500 index. All right. Just type M for market, guys. Type M for market, guys. If you want me to cover the markets, right? Especially the US market, S&P 500 index. And for markets, Domino, all right. Hi, good morning, Anjit. Good to see you here as well. Market. What is happening in the markets? Are we seeing strength? What is going on? Let me know. For markets, guys. You want me to cover the markets very quickly? Okay, very good. Okay, let's just do the S&P 500 index very quickly. So this is the S&P 500 index. You can see right over here where I already turned on what I call the one good trend pro indicator. Of course, I turn on the bullish and bearish signal. So this is an indicator that we have, based upon my one good trend strategy, whereby on any asset classes or any stocks, in fact, the stocks that you're asking later as well, right? Even on the market, okay, we can turn it on in 2 seconds, all right, right over here, right? And you can get an opinion on what to do. I mean, we see a red color bearish one, then be more careful, right? But if you see a green bullish signal, not one but two, that could give you a bit more confidence to think about getting in, especially if you are thinking about buying. You see what I'm saying, all right? So this is so I've turned it on. This is the market, right? So of course you can't really buy the market. I mean, you can buy the ETF and all that, but give you a general idea of the market. Are we more bullish or more bearish? So it's not always green bullish every time. Sometimes there could be bearish signals. You see right over here, the market in April, March last year, February last year, Trump introduced reciprocal tariffs. Dozens of countries got hit. China escalated, right? 2 bearish signals, and we went all the way from 6,002 to 5,002, right? And then we wait for it, right? Be patient, right? I'm sure you hear of people saying in the market, be patient, right? And that's exactly what we do, right? We don't just get in for the sake of getting in, right? I mean, you want to get in only when there are signs of a reversal, right? It did come, right? We got a bullish signal in April, 1GT bullish signal. Of course, we see other confirmations as well. We got a 7-step checklist, and all started to play out. We got the green 20 days moving average line that represents the short-term trend, also turning back up. And there we go, another bullish signal. It went up even more, right? But so let's just zoom into what has happened over the past 3 to 4 months. So you can see that over the past 3-4 months, I would say since October, all right, October right over here, that is where we have found a little bit of resistance level, a very key psychological resistance. It used to be 6,950, right? But now it's quite clearly at the 7,000 level, right over here over the past, in fact, 2-3 weeks, right? We hit it there, came back down, the market sort of. So this 7,000, I think, will be really, really key for the entire S&P 500 index. But if you look at it, right, over the past, I mean, we will kind of like, cap below the 7,000. But as we will cap below the 7,000, it doesn't mean that it's weak, right? It just means that at this 7,000, we are seeing selling, right? That's where sellers are coming back. It doesn't mean because you see a resistance at 7,000 means, then we will start to come all the way down, and then it might start to crash and, all the way down. No, right? It just means that when you're near 7,000, then sellers will come back, right? That's where you can see selling. That's it, right? That just means it's a key resistance. It doesn't mean that we are seeing a lot of selling such that it will go all the way back down. You see what I'm saying, about? All right. So 7,000 is a very key resistance. And the thing is that as we approach the 7,000, all right, we actually got a couple of new 1GT bullish signals coming out, right? So that was in December last month. In fact, it's about more than a month back, right? We got 2 bullish signals, right? Right over here, as I say, these are pretty good confirmations that we are indeed seeing some strength. And we did, rise up a little bit, right? From 6,008 to 7,000, right? But the key here is that we still need to get past the 7,000, all right? So green 20 days moving average line, you can see, right? It was like up, right? So a little bit of short-term uptrend slightly. Right now, starting to flatten out. Why? Because we are back to the 7,000, right? So this level is key. So long-term trend is up. I would say 2 bullish signals. Green 20 days moving average line was up a little bit last week. Now starting to flatten out. But if I don't know when, right? But if we can break the 7,000, right, for the S&P 500 index, for the entire market, I think that could trigger a lot of upside momentum for many of those, blue chip stocks, big caps as well. A lot of analysts will start to upgrade their target price for the entire market, like what we're seeing for the STI. So today is not Singapore, that will be for next Friday, right? But today is US. So you can see that, when Singapore, STI broke a couple of, targets and resistance and stuff, well, analysts all start to revise their target price. Same thing, if the S&P 500 were to break the 7,000 level, I think that's where we could see a lot of analysts, starting to revise, their target price for the entire market, right, as we end 2026. All right. So watch this level. You can see that, even the past 1 over week, in fact, last night, right, we actually saw some selling, right? It was actually what we call a pretty bearish candle. You can see right over here. So let's just focus a bit on the candlestick. You can see that last night, we actually sold down by quite a bit, all the way to the low of 6,876, around 6,800 plus, 6,876. So it was down, right, about 100, I think almost like about 100 points plus, right? But what happens? We got what we call a long lower shadow. It means that, well, there was some, selling, heavy selling, I would say, in the morning, right? But somewhere at the day end, buyers came back, people started to bargain hunt, and buyers came back, right? Push it all the way up. You see the market, we have a long lower shadow. It means that buyers came out and pushed prices all the way back up, and we closed somewhere at the high of the day, right? And that's a good thing. This means that, we are still seeing strength in the market. Any dips, any pullbacks, buyers comes back, they defend, and they push it back up again, right? But of course, as I say, even you push it back up, but you're still below 7,000 now. So you must still clear the 7,000, right? So of course, if you can push it back up, then plus you break the 7,000, even better, right? But never. Now we are still 6,969, right? Which is still below the 7,000. Okay, so let's see over the next few weeks whether we can break the 7,000. Let me just talk about some of the news that have been happening. I mean, in the market, of course, we have Trump, in terms of issues 1-2 weeks back. Kind of going back and forth regarding the takeover of Greenland, a bit of geopolitical tensions as well. All right, but that's kind of put aside again. And now it's a bit of a interest rate as well. So I think the Federal Reserve mentioned that they will hold rates steady, maybe 2 rate cuts this year, but there'll be a later part of the year. All right, so that kind of maybe induce a little bit of selling, a bit of profit taking as well. And that's pretty much the news affecting the market, right? So rate cuts and stuff like that, right? Of course, we're seeing gold prices really pushing higher as well due to all this geopolitical uncertainty. Okay, now let's take a look at maybe the NASDAQ very quickly. NASDAQ, the index that kind of like accounts for the top technology stocks in the US, right? So this is the NASDAQ Composite Index. Remember, for the S&P 500 is the 7,000, right? So same thing, NASDAQ. Well, we have found a very clear resistance, right? I mean, let's just, so you can see right over here, guys. I mean, I already turned on the bullish and bearish signals. Well, we got a bullish signal in April. Look at the reversal all the way up, all the way up 33% in about 5 months. And as I say, past 2-3 months, selling have came back. We are capped below this 24,000, right? So S&P 500 index is the 7,000. NASDAQ is the 24,000 level, right over here, right? So I would say it's a very key level, right? You see, we touch it, came down. Same thing, we near it. In fact, yesterday or 2 nights ago, we kind of like near it, right? Still came back down again, right? Still came back down. So I think that's a very key level. And one thing I want to point your attention to is this, right? You can see quite clearly that we actually got a 1 GT bullish signal being triggered. So there's a bit of strength coming back. It's a bit of strength coming back, right? We are kind of like attempting to push, right? To test the boundaries, right? To test the previous high, to hopefully attempt the break of the 24,000, right? So we got a 1 GT bullish signal, but doesn't mean you get a 1 GT bullish signal means you just anyhow go and buy a solar, right? I mean, later we'll discover it, right? Normally when we have a bullish signal, well, that would be a very good first confirmation, but we also seek other confirmations like, can we break the key resistance level that I talked about, right? The 24,000, right? Is a short-term trend, like the green line, is it like turning back up, right? Like now, obviously it's flat, but let's say we get a bullish signal, we break the 24,000, and this line starts to like, do like that, then best, right? That would be another confirmation of even more upside. You see what I'm saying, Swat? All right, but now it hasn't happened yet. So that's what we are actually looking for. Something like this, right? All of here, you see the green line was like going down, wait for it, pam, we got a bullish signal. Green line turns back up. There we go, all the way up. All right, so this is the NASDAQ, bit of selling near 24,000. Pretty much, I would say that's a cap for the entire market, all right, for the NASDAQ. Okay, now let's go ahead to look at some of the US stocks that you guys are looking about. I know some of you already typed in the chat, the US stocks, right? So go ahead to type in the chat, guys, right now. Those of you who have not yet do it, I'll do my best, all right, to cover as many as possible. As I say, thank you so much for those of you who have already typed in the chat and you have given a bit of context, right? So let me just pick the very first stock for today. All right, I've not looked through it, so give me some time, maybe 20-30 seconds. I'll just choose one to start off today's session. Okay, let me go ahead. Let's see. Okay. Okay, maybe we can do, let me just choose one. All right. Kenny, I hope you're over here joining us. Hi team, hi Kenny, good to see you here as well. Well, I'm interested to invest in PLTR. I believe that would be Palantir, right? One of the very popular stocks that rallied quite a fair bit in 2025 last year. Okay, so you're looking to invest. Okay, can advise a good entry level. Thank you so much, Kenny, for giving us a bit of context. So I know that you don't have so you want to buy, right? But you don't know like when to buy Okay, so let's find out. Palantir, PLTR, is it? PLTR, where is it? Okay, over here. Let's go. Wow. Okay, so this is Palantir right over here. Okay. What do you guys think? Maybe you can help Kenny out, guys. In fact, I already turned on the 1 GT Pro indicator into the bullish and bearish signals, right? Okay, off it. Okay, let's turn it on. Pump. There we go. What do you guys think? Should you think Kenny should buy right now? Or why type W for wait, B for buy, W for wait, B for buy. Let me know. Let me know, guys. W for wait, B for buy, right? So we can all advise Kenny together, right? Hopefully it's similar to what I'm going to say, right? Let me know. W for wait, B for buy. Let's take a look. So Ian, wait. Simon also say wait. Helen also say wait. All right. ST wait. Okay. So Kenny, so that's what they say. Everybody also say wait. No, I say one. They say one. So okay, let's skip next stop. Right? No, just kidding. Later I'm going to analyze it. Okay. But basically, most of you saying wait, right? Okay. So why is it wait? Okay. Let me go ahead to analyze it right now. So let me go ahead to pull out Kenny's chat. Where is it? Can you just pull out Kenny's chat? Okay. So you can see that, guys, for this Palantir. But Kenny, right? You can see that we actually got a 1 GT bearish signal actually coming out, I would say, in like beginning of the year, 2nd of January. Right? Okay, let me just zoom back a little bit, right? You can see that for Palantir, right? It's good. I mean, since last year, to be honest, it's one of the top performing plays. In fact, right, you can see we got a couple of bullish signals, all the way up. Wow. April last year, pump, what, all the way up. All right, in September, went up a little bit. Right, so we got bullish signals as a confirmation, not one, but 2, 3, 4 coming out. And you see, there we go. But every time we got a bearish signal, all right, it starts to come down. We saw weakness. We saw selling. It retraced back down. All right. So what happens is this, right? Whenever we see a bearish signal, we try not to rush. We try not to rush, right? We want to wait for the confirmation. Like for example, like this first one coming out, right? Right over here. The first, like, so you got pump, 2 bearish one in February, then in March also got another one, right? So when the bullish signal come out, right? There's still a lot of timeline. In fact, it was pump, right? There we go, right? 89%, right? In like 4 months. Right? The point here is that it's not about 89% or what, but the point here is that we want to wait for a confirmation to buy any stock, to get in. Right? It's not just because I feel like getting in because the price is cheap, then I just buy a lot. Cannot be like that. Then there's not a reason, right? So we want to wait for a confirmation. Like over here, we got a bearish signal. We got bullish pump. Okay, all the way up. Right? Same thing over here, we got a bullish signal. It went up a bit, came back down. But now, if you look at it, right, we got a bearish signal coming out, I would say, in 2nd of January. So a bearish signal coming out just means a bit more selling. And obviously, you can see that the green 20 days moving average line, the short-term trend, was up. And it started to point down. So we normally don't want to rush when we got 2 confirmations. As I say, we have a 7-step checklist to know when to get in. All right. Out of these 7, 2 already say down already. All right. If we got 2 more say down, all right, it's really not so good. All right. The only thing good about this counter is that I feel that this counter is good. Nothing wrong. As I say, I mean, I might even think about buying it. Right. But the point here is that maybe not now. Right. But why am I even thinking about looking to get in? Or maybe for Kenny, why are you even thinking about getting in? Well, because I feel that this company, well, the longer term trend is up. Right. So that's a good thing, right? Because you're thinking about getting in, right? Just that not now, not today, maybe not next week, maybe next month or something, right? Why? Because the longer term trend is up. You see the red 100 days moving average line is up. The blue line is up. So long term trend is no problem one. Okay one, good one. In fact, very good. Since last year, very good, right? It has been up. Don't know since when. 2024 it up, right? But long term trend up doesn't mean the bearish signal cannot come up. You can see over here, it came out in February, pump went down, right? So we want to wait for the long term trend is up, which is up right now, no problem. But we also want to wait for the short term trend to turn up right over here, right? So now the green line is still pointing down, but let's say, I don't know, next week or next week, then it start to like that, then maybe flatten a bit, then start to turn up a bit. That is where we can start to open our eyes to think about a potential entry, right? Near the support level, all right? And of course, if a new bullish signal like this thing right over here, now don't have but let's say, you see the green line turning up, like, in fact, it's like a bit like here, that. So then you take this and then you take and paste over here, right? A bullish signal come out, different story, another confirmation of a reversal. That is where we could potentially time our entry to get back in. Why? Because when that happens, we don't buy just because it's going cheaper and lower, right? We buy because there's a confirmation that we are starting to see the reversal. You see what I'm saying so far? All right, and that can guide us to get back in, right? So back to your question, right? Can advise a good entry level? What I could give you would be this, maybe some support level whereby hopefully some bargain hunting can come back. I would say that over the past 7 to 8 months, it seems like this 140, you can see right over here, we neared it, pump rebounded, was a bit of a resistance, right? So it could be 130 or it could be 140. You can see 130 could be as well, because see 130 was a resistance here. We broke above it, retested it, and all the way up. So it could be anywhere from 130 to 140. Don't ask me what price. I mean, it could be 132, 135, 138, 142. Right? I don't know. Right over here, right? But that's where we could see some bargain hunting potentially coming out. Right? That's a good support level. But as I say, doesn't mean because I draw one line there, or the support means go there, just anyhow and buy. No lah, right? That's just potentially where some bargain hunting can come back. But let's assume right now I've drawn this line, and then when we go there, then we see the green 20 days moving average. Really go to there and then start to flatten out. All right, and then start to point up, and then the bullish signal come out all around there. Would it be another confirmation that it really is going to reverse back up again? Does it make sense so far? All right. So that will be for Palantir, right? So I hope that helps. I'll give you a bit of a potential entry. Not saying that you should enter right now, but that could be where some bargain hunting you come back 130 to 140, maybe up to 145, stabilize a little bit, right? Let's see whether the short-term trend could stabilize, slightly reverse up. We get another confirmation like a bullish signal. Well, I think that would be a much better entry in terms of getting the confirmations that we seek for. Cool. All right. So that is the very first stock, Palantir. All right. I hope that helps, Kenny. Let me pass on the mic to Z to cover the next US stock. Z?
All right. Thanks, Joey. Okay. So very interesting there, Palantir. Yeah, definitely still watching lah. Still watching it as well. So the next stock that I will be covering will be by John. Right, John, let me just switch my screen, and that would be gold, right? And I think GLD is something that a lot of people are actually looking at right now, especially like what Joey, covered a little bit about the geopolitics earlier on when he was doing the market update, right? Because I think that is the main reason why a lot of people suddenly so interested in gold and started to pile into gold, and that is why, I believe all of you guys over the past few days, you guys have also seen the news, right? That gold hit $5,000, right? So, John. Thanks for giving us a bit of context, right? You said that you bought GLD, which is the SPDR Gold Shares ETF, at 484, right? And you mentioned that it came crashing down last night. Let's see whether is it really crashing down last night. And given the uptrend is still intact, should I consider stop loss falling below 480? Okay, so let's take a look at GLD, right? You mentioned that you bought at 480, right? As of last night, price closed at 495.90. Okay, you're still sitting on profits, right? Right. So you mentioned that it came crashing down last night. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper as to see whether did it really crash last night, right? I think what you are concerned is you actually look at this candle, right? Wow, this candle look very red and long, and perhaps you might think that, I think a bit nervous lah when it comes to when you actually see something like that, right? But in fact, when we look at this candlestick, right, on its own, right, when you see a long lower shadow, especially a very long shadow, longer than the body itself, in fact, regardless of the color, whether is it red, is it green, it actually has bullish implication. Why? Because during the trading session itself, the buyers come in to push the price all the way back up. Then that is why it resulted in a very long lower shadow, right? Even though, it's red, but right, I mean, if it's green, even better, right? But it's red, right? But, and the thing is that, if you take a look at it, this is the closing price, 495. Actually, if you compare to the candle that is on 28th of Jan, one day before, you see that it actually even closed higher than the candle that is before. So did it actually crash? Not really lah. But what I think actually happened is that because all the hype around gold and all the news about gold hitting $5,000, very likely is a lot of profit taking actually happened lah. People start booking in their profits. Those who have hold gold for a very long time, is it okay to sell near the $500 level, which is where gold hit 5,000? I think it's perfectly fine lah. Nothing wrong with taking some profits, right? So perhaps for John, right, maybe you might also want to ask yourself whether when you first bought into this gold, right, are you thinking about just for like short-term trading type, or is it more for your longer-term holdings and investment? Because for some people, they really want to keep gold long-term, maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? Just a small part of it. But for some people, they want to do trading, right? So if your intention for buying into gold is for trading, right, I think near this $500 right over here, of course, do you think that it is okay to take some profits, especially you enter at 848, right? Near 500, definitely you will be locking in some profits as well, right? I think nothing wrong with that. So I think you got to ask yourself that question. Is it for long term? Is it for short term? What's your intention, right? Because everybody's in different. But what I want to address and to point out is that if price hits near the $500, especially when we look at the chart right now, $500 definitely is a psychological resistance that we want to take note, right? As we also always mention, psychological resistance is where sellers are there ready to queue, put the sell order there, and then want to take profits, right? So nothing wrong to actually take profits near, especially the $500 level, right? If prices were to head back up near the 500, it's okay, right? Perhaps you don't want to take the full profits because like you also mentioned, uptrend is still intact, which I 100% agree, right? Because if we look at all the moving averages, red, blue, and green, all moving averages are still pointing up, right? Plus, we have this 1GT bullish signal, the green one, that's actually still playing out, right? So uptrend is intact, 1GT bullish signal is still playing out. Now it is hitting a resistance level. Is it normal to see some profit taking, some pulling back? Sure, right? So I think if it's near $500, nothing wrong to take profits, right? But I think your second part of the question is thinking whether should you consider a stop loss falling below 480. Very good question. Apart from thinking, I mean, of course, taking profits, you are thinking about your downside risk, which is great, right? Because if a trend or a stock is good and the uptrend is intact, yeah, you continue let it ride, right? Let the uptrend take care of itself, and then you just got to manage the risk and the downside, right? So that's a good mindset to have. So when you think about stop loss, I think one thing that we can use would be this thing called the trailing support resistance function. So if I were to turn it on, you can see turn off and turn on. This trailing support and resistance function, just a recap for those of you who are new here, this trailing support, as you can see, this green line here is trailing support, the red line is trailing resistance, right? It is the reason why it called trailing support is because it actually trails the prices as it moves. So when price move up, you can see that this trailing support, right, also actually moves up with the price, right? And this trailing support actually accounts for the stock volatility, right? Giving it some room to breathe, right? So given that this trading support gives the stock some room to breathe, if the stock actually fall or drop or close below the trading support, not so good because you give it some room to breathe already, it falls below it, it closes below it, we triggered a 1GT bearish signal, then that's where perhaps you might want to think about getting out, right? Or reducing some. In this case for GLD, right, I turn on the trading support, and what you can see is that right now the trading support, where is it at? It is near this 460, right? $460 level. So if you're thinking about stopping loss, right, to manage your downside, perhaps you might want to consider, right, to place a few percentage, like maybe 2 to 3%, depending on your risk appetite as well, right? Because some people maybe their risk appetite very big, right? But the key thing is stop loss order. Generally, what we advise is to place it below slightly the trailing support, because trailing support give it room to breathe, and you give it a bit more room for it to breathe, right? And if you really still break below, then that's when you want to think about reducing exposure and getting out and to manage your downside risk. Okay, so John, I hope that helps to give you some context, right, about gold. Definitely, it still looks great, but like I've mentioned, think about what's your intention, right? And of course, now the trading support, it is around the 460. So that perhaps give you a reference point as to where you can consider to actually place your stop limit order for stop loss as well. Okay, so that would be for gold. I will pass the time now to Jiayi to actually cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Z. Thanks for covering gold. I believe everyone was, everyone's just looking at gold these days because it went up quite a lot since I think last year or starting this year. So I think the next stock that I'll be covering on will be on this counter. James asking about Broadcom. Just give me a sec. Okay, for Broadcom, I bought Broadcom at 325. It was hovering around this level. Should I keep or sell at what price, or sell at what price to invest in other stocks? So if you're looking, you bought at 325, I believe yesterday closing was about 330. That's around the price that you maybe bought it. But I'm not too sure when you actually bought it, maybe back in September or recently, to be around this level. But just let us look at this counter first. Believe for this counter, since last year, after everyone talking about AI, it has went up quite a bit since April. From the 145 has been going up, broke a few key resistance level, which is it broke above the 240, continue to go up, broke above the 320. So actually, if you see the chart now, previously the 100 days, the 200 days, and the 20 days moving average was pointing up. All of the three moving average are pointing out, showing that the short term and the long term strength are intact. But for now, when we look at it, what can you notice? You can actually notice that the 20 days moving average, if you just look at here, is actually pointing down already. So what does this mean? It means that actually now the short term wise is actually showing some weakness. Even though we can see that the 100 days and 200 days is kind of pointing out, but you can also notice that the 100 days is actually kind of flattening now. So actually previously you can see that now it's going upwards, but now it's kind of flattening. So if we look at it wise, for this chart, for this counter, currently short term there's some weakness, long term still uptrending, but maybe moving forward, if the prices still fluctuate around this 320 level, you might see that the 100 days moving average also will start to flatten. So if we just look at the chart wise, I would say currently you can see some support near this 320. So why do I say so? So if you notice in September, actually the price broke above this 320 level, came back to test this support of 320 quite a few times back in October, went up to actually near that 400 resistance level, but didn't go there, came back down near that 320 again. Actually in November to December, it actually went up to 400 and actually broke above this 400 for a few days, but came back down. So came back down to test that 320 support, 1, 2, 3, and recently it came back down to test at 320 support again. So this 320 is actually quite a strong support, tested quite a few times. It's also where your entry was, which is a 325, near the support level, which is a good entry level. But I'll say for now, there's some short-term weakness, and you also want to monitor whether this 320 will be broken. So if we notice this 320 has been staying above, the price has been staying above this 320 for quite a few times. But if the next few days, if you notice or if we happen to see that the price actually break below this 320 and close below, you might see that there might be more short-term or even a mid-term weakness coming in. So if it breaks below this 320 key support level, you might see that the next support might be around that 240, which was the previous key resistance. So for now, I would say you can just closely monitor first since it's near your entry price. But do make sure to have a stop loss plan if it continues to show more weakness and break below that 320. So if prices are able to stay above this 320, you might see that the 20 days moving average might start to flatten first, and if it starts to point up, and when the 200 days moving average also starts to point up, you might see more strength in this counter. But for now, I would say since it's near your support level, it's near your entry level, monitor first. If it breaks below that 320, you might consider to stop loss and afterwards go into other stocks. But if it doesn't and it stabilizes around that 320 and manage to stay above it and show more strength afterwards, you might see that there's more upsides towards that 400 resistance level, which you can consider to take profit as well. Yeah. So hope that answer your questions, James. Yeah. If not, I'll pass on my time back to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Jai. Okay, so let's move on and cover the next stock, right? And I would say that this stock would be this company called RTX. Emily, I hope you're over here, right? Emily, thanks for joining us. I bought RTX at 203.90. Okay, now it's 199. Okay, a little bit down, no worries. All right, thinking it was a breakout. Okay, price retraced back slightly, a little bit only lah. All right, and now at about 199. Yeah, correct. May I know the trend for this stock and the take profit? I think probably take profit range lah. All right, okay, no problem. Let's go to find out. So I would say the RTX Corporation is one of the stocks in our watch list since I would say last year lah. Actually, very strong longer term trend, right, in terms of the bullish and bearish signals from the 1GT Pro indicator that we have. Turn it off, you can see that it disappears, right? Turn it on, you can see that we have triggered, right, a couple of bullish signals, right, since April, May last year, right? Pump, right? Pump. And the rally, the reversal actually started all the way up, 26% here. All right, a bearish signal went down a bit, but a new bullish signal came out and it went even higher. Now it's another 17%. All right, so it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I would say that the long-term trend is up. Short-term trend, the green line, still up, right? So still okay, right? So short-term trend is still up, right? So up means up, down means down. Don't need to block yourself. Also, I think long-term trend is up. The short-term trend is also up. Bullish signal, we had pump over here. Here got one in October, right? So of course, if you've gone in around there, then a bit cheaper lah, right? That was like about 170, now already like about 200. But no worries. No worries. Even though it's gone a bit higher, you got in. But the fact is that as of now, all right, things are still looking pretty bullish. Things are still looking pretty bullish because the long-term trend and the short-term trends are aligned, and both of them are pointing up, right? So what I could tell you is that perhaps there could be a bit of a support right now, maybe around the 195, right? 190 to 195. It seems like over the past 2 weeks, some bargain hunting has slowly chipped in right over there. And that's also where the 20 days moving average line is as well. So it could be 195. Oh, okay. So it's like $10, like 195 to 205. It seems like it's like doing the 195 to 205 thing, right? Up, down, right? So, preferably by right, if you could have gone in near the 195, 196, 197, 198, that'll be better. You get a bit more upside reward if you're entering near a support level. There's a horizontal support level that we do think about timing our entries as well, all right? In an uptrend, all right? Now, let me go to share with you perhaps what could be, another confirmation you could seek as well, right? That shows that this stock is still strong, all right? And that will be one of the very powerful features of my One Good Trend Pro indicator, right? And right over here, you can see that we could turn on the trailing support and resistance, right? A very powerful feature. Once in a while, I turn it on. And why do I do it? Well, you can see that maybe got this bullish signal coming out in October. Well, we actually got a trailing support line actually popping up. Now, let's just keep it simple. Let me just remove the moving averages, right? So long-term trend is up. The green line is pointing up. It means the short-term trend is up as well. So trend indicators, all positive. Now, let's take a look at now this trailing support that I've pretty much just turned on, right? You can see the third box, pump off, no more. Pump on, then it came back up, right? So very simple. Now you can see this green trailing support line popping out in October. And it was, when it popped up, it was around that 155 level, right? So what is this trailing, support about? Well, this trailing support, as the name sounds like trailing. So you trail, you follow, right? As the price moves up, right? So it trails the price as it moves up in an uptrend. You go up, then I follow you, all right? You go up some more, I follow you some more, right? But I don't follow too close, you give it a bit of space to breathe, some allowance, so strict at that, right? So give it some space, okay? But as long as the price is above it, right? In fact, you see we dip near it in December, but you're still above, right? We give you the space to be above. You should be above, if you're good, Does it make sense? All right. So you go near it. That could be an entry as well, near the trailing support level. And yeah, it did, right? After that, it started to push up again, right? So preferably, a good entry would be near the trailing support. That would be, I would say, a better upside reward, because if it does dip a little bit, all right, that'll be where you could buy slightly cheaper to get in to ride the reversal. So like somewhere over here, if you got in right over here, 3rd December was at 170, right? Next week later, we got two bullish signals. You can see all the way up already, right? So I'm not too sure right now whether you dip, to 190 or what, to get in. But the fact is that if it does hit there, that will be one of the confirmations we seek as well to time our entry. If it doesn't, then no choice. You might have to get in a little bit higher, and that will be near what we call the 195 horizontal support level. That doesn't take into account the volatility. It doesn't give space, right? Not saying it's not good, but it's just a bit more straightforward. It's a horizontal support level that we have been holding over the past 2 weeks, right? So far so good, right? I think it still looks good. Anything above that 190 or maybe above this trailing support that gives it the space, it still looks bullish. You can continue to ride it. And of course, if you do break the 205 to 210, right? I think that's where, you could see the next phase. This trailing support has been following it, right? If it breaks the 205, we could see it follow even more, right? And that is where you could think about taking some profit, maybe near 220, 230, and if that forms as a resistance level. All right, so I hope that helps. So far, so good. RTX is still one of the very bullish long-term uptrending stock. In the short term, it looks pretty bullish as well, right? So let me just quickly turn back on the moving averages, right? So far, looks pretty positive. Okay, so that is for RTX Corporation. I hope that helps, Emily. Let me pass on the mic to Z to cover the next stock. Z?
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so the next stock that I have over here would be by June, right? June is asking what's on the 1GT, I was saying 1GT indicator, what is it showing, right? For target, 1 TGT, right? Okay, let me just turn off the trading support first, so that you guys, so that it's not so messy. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at this right now. So you mentioned that you have bought it when it is 104. It went up for quite a bit, but last 2 days it went down. Then you're asking whether should you continue to still hold on, right? Okay, so maybe let's analyze target together. All right. So target right now, yesterday price closed at what? 102, right? 102. You mentioned that you got in at about 104. I think, yeah, maybe a bit worrying for you now because you open your account, you see that, hey, what, it's red in color, it's sitting on losses, right? So thinking about what should you do next, right? So for target at this point in time, when we look at the chart, right? I'm not too sure when you actually bought into target 104. Is it you buy like, is it here or do you buy here? I will assume maybe it's somewhere here lah, maybe somewhere in the early of Jan, because based on what you mentioned, it went up for quite a bit, right? So maybe it went up for quite a bit, it will be during the middle of Jan lah. It went up all the way to 112 right over here, right? So when you buy right over here, right? If let's say I assume that you are actually buying here lah. That's my guess lah, okay? If you actually bought somewhere here, I think it's perfectly fine, right? Nothing wrong to actually buy here, especially so is you see that price actually break out above this resistance around the 103, right? And we started to see short-term strength, the green line starting to point out, crossing above both the longer term as well. And we also got 2 1GT bullish signal. Nothing wrong, right? Getting in, like what we always mention, is easy, right? But is the part about getting out, what's your stop loss if price were to reverse, and where's your target? I think that is the struggle that a lot of people have, right? So when you actually got it in here, it's fine, right? It's fine. But I'm not sure at that point in time, do you already had a trading plan? Because by right, you should have a trading plan, right? And you know that somewhere near this 112, this was previously somewhere you see like some sort of resistance happening here, right? You see that price broke down, right? And then here it was actually testing, but wow, cannot break already. And then since then, it has been staying all the way below this 112. So when price actually approached back this 112, perhaps this is where, you know, if you were thinking about trading, then maybe this is where you want to consider to let go of some positions lah. Why? Because short-term strength is up. But at that point in time, when we look at the longer-term trend, what do you think about the longer-term trend? Is it okay? I mean, at least it's not pointing down lah, right? It's not pointing down. But the rate is actually not above the blue, right? Essentially, what we want to see is like that, green, red, and blue. But the longer-term trend at this point in time, not yet lah. Not yet fulfill the criteria of a longer-term uptrend because it has not crossed above, right? Red has not crossed above the blue, right? So then it comes to the question of, if price never go up, what is my stop loss plan, right? What's your stop loss plan? Because if I were to turn on the trailing support right now, let's see, the trailing support right over here. Do you see that actually price, it probably went down below the 103, 104, the horizontal support, right? But then when we talk about the dynamic support, which is the trailing support, it still currently seems to be holding above it, despite, yes, the past 2 days, it has kind of like dipped below, right? But so far, it is still holding above it. So your stop loss plan, generally, when we think about stop loss, like we've mentioned, when trailing support, give it room to breathe, it breaks below the support, then not so good. That's where we want to think about getting out, right? So, for example, like right over here, if prices actually break below a trailing support, we get a 1GT bearish signal. Do you think that is okay to actually get out first rather than sitting on unrealized profit and it goes lower and lower because nobody knows how low can it continue to go? Then when you have the opportunity to go in again, when we have more signals and more confirmation, then get in again. It's not too late, right? It's not too late. So the thing is, think about your stop loss, right? Think about your stop loss in terms of if price break below this trailing support, at which point or at which percentage level you would like to actually reduce your exposure lah. Because if it does happen, then perhaps we might see more weakness returning to this counter, right? And that is when you want to get out, wait for opportunity again. And what are we waiting for, right? If we were to use back the same counter, right? And let's look at the same context, like somewhere here in 2020. Okay, so for example, you can see right over here, right? This is also kind of like a similar situation, right? Short-term trend is actually up, green line point up. But at this point in time, we also got 1GT bullish signal. But only until we get more confirmation, right, that the red actually cross above the blue. Then even if you get in somewhere here, is it too late? Actually, not too late, because then you see that, consistently the price subsequently went up, right? Even though, you say that, but then the signal come out in April, you only buy somewhere in August, the price already went up by another $20 over. It's more expensive. Yes, it's more expensive, but at that point in time, you have much more confirmation, right? And that is the whole idea. We want to have more confirmation so that you have a higher probability winning trade. So that's the thing that we want to watch out for. and we want to take note of, right? So when prices actually dip and it crosses below your trailing support and you get a 1GT bearish signal and you see that the signs not so good yet, right? The longer term trend not up yet, the short term trend maybe a bit of weakness, then that's when you want to rethink about your plan, right? And maybe that's where you can consider to actually reduce exposure first and wait for opportunities to re-enter again. Because nobody say after you sell or you cut loss, you cannot buy back, right? You can still buy back, but wait. We must wait for more confirmation, right? Not just anyhow buy. Okay, so June, I hope that helps to give you something to think about, and also in terms of what's your stop loss plan, because I cannot give you a percentage, right? Everybody risk appetite is different, but you do know that now based on this, when I turn it on, it is approaching the trailing support, right? And by the way, I don't know because any of you guys here, if you guys are thinking about how do we even have these signals, right? Why we got all these signals? By the way, I think Joey has very kindly given you guys, for those of you who who don't have this on your trading view, right? Maybe you want to give it a try, right? And it is a free trial, I think, for 14 days, right? You guys can actually turn on and off the signals yourself and to take a look as well, right? Real time based on the chart. When you open trading view, that's where you can actually see the indicators yourself. So maybe if you guys are keen, you guys can also try out the 1GT light indicator free trial. And I think the link will be actually put in the chat for you guys if you guys are keen, right? Yeah, feel free to try it out and see, whether the signals will be able to help you to make your decisions better, okay? So that is it for 1GT for target, right? For target. Now I'll pass the time back to Jia to actually cover the next stock.
All right, thank you Z for covering target. The next stock that I'll be covering on will be actually this counter. It'll be on Oracle. So I believe Mitch was asking about Oracle losing position to hold or exit already for loss. I'm not too sure what price you bought at, but maybe you can let me know in the chat as well, so I roughly know what was the entry price that you got in. I think Kunan was also asking about Oracle, at 195, bought at 195 and holding, price has fallen afterwards, now hold or sell. So let's just look at the chart for this counter. I believe previously back in last year 2025, the trend actually was quite strong, especially when it broke above that 200 psychological resistance back in June. Afterwards, prices actually went up, went to 260, came back down, but afterwards, after earnings, actually gapped out and went to that 330 resistance, the next resistance, which was the all-time high. So actually back then, when you look at it, the counter was actually quite strong. All three moving averages was actually pointing up. You can see that the 20 days, actually the 100 days also starting to point up, and the 100 days and 200 days are also pointing up. So at that point of time, the chart looking good, the counter was actually quite strong. But then, if you notice, as of now, if you just look at the chart wise, just give me a sec. Okay. If you look at the counter for now, you can see that actually the 100 days since maybe October has been pointing down. So since October, we start to flatten now and start to point down and has been going down. And there was a 1GT bearish signal. Afterwards, also noticed that recently, in October last year, it actually kind of flattened out for the 100 days. And afterwards, the 100 days actually start to point down as well. So afterwards, there's also two 1GT bearish signal that appeared, and recently another two 1GT bearish signal that appears. So if you just look at the chart wise, previously 200 was quite strong, I would say actually was a support level that it went up, came back down in November, kind of stayed above it, but after 1 month, it actually broke below this 200 psychological support level. So it now kind of become it's kind of like a resistance now. So you can see that actually prices came back up near this resistance level. If you notice around this level, it actually kind of tried to break above, but couldn't break above. And in January, one of the days it went up, went up above the 200, but couldn't stay above for the next few days. Actually came back down, and now you see that there's more weakness. So I would say currently the immediate support would be around that, maybe 160 support level. So it's actually near a support level now. But if prices were to break below this 160, you might see that there might be more weakness back to that 120 support level, which was actually the previous low back in April 2025. So I would say currently, if you just look at the chart wise, the 100 days and also the 20 days is actually showing weakness, showing that now the short term and also the mid-term is actually having weakness. The 100 days, the 200 days also might be flattening, and if prices continue to stay below this 200, you might see more weakness as well for the long-term wise. So if we just turn on the trailing support, we can also notice that the trailing support is actually near that 200 psychological resistance level. So if prices are able to go back up, stay above this 160, go back up to 200 and break above that 200, you might see more strength coming in. But as for now, I would say if just look at the chart wise, it's kind of showing some weakness for now. And if you are looking to I think Kunan is asking whether to hold or sell. I would say if you want, you can monitor to see whether it stays above this 160 support level. But if prices break below this 160, you might want to consider to stop loss because it's actually showing weakness already. And also another thing to take note is so notice that you entered near that 195 level. So actually 195, if you enter around this level, it's actually near the resistance. And we always encourage to enter near a support. So it's nothing wrong if prices actually break above this 200 and you enter at a slightly higher price, because there's more confirmation that there's more strength coming in. But if you enter near the 195, which is near resistance, usually there's sellers coming in, pushing the price down. You might see that there's more selling pressure, and prices, if not able to break above that 200 psychological resistance level, it can break down to the 160 support level. So I would say for now, if you are looking to hold or sell, best is to monitor whether it stays above this 160. But previously, when it actually came back down, there's a 1GT bearish signal. You should have cut loss maybe along the way around the 185 or 180. But since prices are around this 160 already, best is to see whether this support of 160 is able to hold. If prices are not able to hold above this 160, you might see more weakness. Yep. I saw Mitch also mentioned that you bought Oracle at 220, which was also above this support previously. So if you previously bought it around at 220, when it breaks below this 220, turning into a resistance, you should have actually cut loss along the way when you actually break below that 200. So I would say for now, there's weakness. I'm not too sure how the price will move moving forward, but if prices break below this 160 support level, you might want to actually do a stop loss or cut loss. Yeah, hope that answered your question for Mitch and Kunan. Yeah, if not, I'll pass on my time back to Joey.
All right, thank you so much, Chai. Yeah, so I think basically, guys, I mean, you can see that when we actually have 1GT bearish signals being triggered, right? We try not to get in, right? So I think basically you can see that these bearish signals actually came out since a couple of months back. If you have seen the bearish signals, right, that's where it could guide you not to get it, right? So I think you guys can agree that sometimes it's good that it's not always about thinking to buy, when to buy, but when not to buy, all right? Especially if you're seeing bearish signals and you get confirmations that it's going down, all right? I think, can you guys agree with that? All right, so that's how I would say having this tool can help you. And I think Z mentioned as well, we do have a 14-day free trial to the one good trend light indicator. So we are kind of like using what we call the pro indicator, all right? But the pro indicator is more advanced features and stuff, right? But we do have a light version that, it's a bit more simpler. It comes up with bullish and even bearish signals. You can turn it on like what we do, get an opinion in seconds. All right, so you want to test it, drive it. Link is right in the chat again. Just place the link in the chat again. All right, and that's where you could get an opinion on any stocks, what to do. Right, so if you see a bearish signal, not one, not two, but three, then you go and buy for what, right? So be a bit more patient, right? But when you see a bullish signal, good. That's where you can have more confidence. Does it make sense, Mark? All right. Okay. Now let's take a look at this stock right over here. I think a lot of people are asking about this stock. Last night, sold off quite badly, So this stock. Let's see. ORCL, good morning. Bought MSFT Microsoft at 475. All right, so I think you bought 475, I think maybe last month. Stop loss last night. All right, yeah, I think you can see a couple of bearish signals as well. So same thing, right? We try not to buy a stock when we got a couple of bearish signals, right? So that's but later I'll analyze a bit more. We got three. Okay, let's take a look at a few more of you guys asking about Microsoft. Let's see. I think we have Yin. Any thoughts on Microsoft? Yes, significant drop past 2 days. But the 1GT was the entry, so is it a good time to buy? All right, should we accumulate more? Should we be patient? Definitely, I'll cover that in a bit. Right, so let's see another Microsoft one. Let's see. A lot of people asking on Microsoft. Good morning. MSFT seems to be in free fall recently. Yeah, I mean, actually over the past 2 days, especially last night. Exactly. Is it in oversold territory? Is it good time to enter? Is it? I want to buy, but don't know when. So let's see. So let's see. How many more Microsoft? A lot of Microsoft. Wow, another one. I'm looking to buy Microsoft. Also want to buy. All right. What's the chart? Okay. So looking to buy. Is Microsoft good? Let's find out. Okay. Again, so that is pretty much Microsoft right here. Okay, so let's take a look, right? So I think why are we seeing a bit of selling? I mean, like last night. Well, basically we got some earnings announcement that was out. It was kind of like below expectation. I think earnings was good, but in terms of the cloud growth in segment, right? It came in way below expectations, right? So Microsoft stock fell over 11%, right? It's the biggest drop since March 2020, about 6 years back, right? Due to weak cloud revenue, one of the segments. And that is kind of like a worrying thing because of AI investments are into cloud, right? So it's sold off due to that, right? In terms of cloud, in terms of like cloud growth. And also, I think the company also issued soft guidance on its operating margin, right? That was slightly lower as well. Okay, let's take a look, right? MSFT stock post worst day in 6 years, drags a broader market. Yeah, I think the market kind of like pulled off as well due to MSFT, Microsoft. And at least 15 analysts lowered their price target on Microsoft, although they still overwhelmingly recommend buying the shares, right? So what could be a good price to buy, all right? So investors would benchmark the cloud performance of Amazon and Alphabet as well. That's for next week. So I think a lot of companies are reporting their earnings, in terms of their performance, different sectors as well. Microsoft being one of the hyperscalers, one of the leaders in the technology company, right? And cloud performance is critical. So that's kind of like, a little bit of a barometer on where the AI funds or investments are moving, right? So if it's deep in that, well, it could affect other AI plays as well. All right. So that is pretty much why we have seen a bit of selling, right? Because of news announcement, results coming in below expectations in terms of a particular cloud segment. Now, let's dive into the chart of Microsoft right now. So since last year, right, of course, it doesn't always look that bullish or bearish, right? I mean, in fact, since like last year, we got bearish signals coming out, right? So every time, as I say, when we get bearish signal, we try not to rush. Why you want to buy, right? I mean, just be patient, okay? Wait for the stock to show its hand, right? Wait for it to play its cards out, right? And you see it, you get the confirmation, you get it, right? And what would that be? Well, you can see there was in April, same thing, we got a bullish signal, right? And yeah, the rally started, right, all the way, right, from here, pump, all the way up. We got a bearish signal. Well, not a lot, 33%, right? 33%. You see a bearish signal, you get out, take some profit, nothing wrong, right? And then wait to get back in again now. All right. So you can see that, well, we were actually consolidating right over here. It was pretty much consolidating, I would say, from 500 to 550. All right. I also don't know what it's doing, but it was like, 500 to 550. It's like a $50 up, then down, then up, then down, right? But every time we hit it to the 550, 540, you can see a bearish signal came out and we traded lower, all right? Since November, right up here, well, the first bearish signal came out. So you can see bullish signal went up, then the bearish signal came out. We broke the 500. So 500 is what we call a psychological support level, right? Like 100, 500, 1,000, like the S&P is 7,000, right? These are all whole numbers, okay? And if we do break that level, it's not so good, right? It just shows that it's some heavy selling coming back. It's a very key support. It's a psychological support. You break below it and you still stay below it, not so good, right? First, there's just one confirmation, right? If you get other confirmations like the bearish signal, obviously the green line that was like going up a bit and flat also start to turn down. Another bearish signal also come out, right? So pump 1, pump 2, right? So some maybe think it's cheap, go and buy over here or buy over here, jalan, right? Another bearish signal come out, go down some more, right? So we try not to buy when there are bearish signals, when there are not just bearish signals, but also other things saying that it's going to go down. You see what I'm saying? All right. Okay. Now let's move on. So you can see that over the past 2-3 weeks, right? A couple of bearish signal came out. And if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that we actually got a bullish signal being triggered as well, right? Right up here. That was actually the few, because people were expecting maybe some good results. Right? A bullish signal actually got triggered right over here on the 27th of Jan. Right? Why did it get triggered? Let me just go to turn on what we call the trailing support and resistance. Right? So you can see that when we actually had this bearish signal coming out in November, well, a trailing resistance, this red line that follows the price as it moves down, right? Follow. If you're weak, you're below it, we give you the space, you stay below, right? You're weak, right? But if you go above it, like what we see over here, so you can see the bullish signal actually got triggered because we actually attempted to use up all the space and we broke above the trailing resistance. So actually it was quite positive, you know, I mean, if you look at it on 27 Jan, right? But here's the thing, right? Whenever we get any bullish and bearish signals, we don't just take a look at it independently, right? Or alone, and you see a bullish signal, you just go and buy, or you see a bearish signal, you go and sell. No, right? A bullish signal and a bearish signal would be just one confirmation. I mean, a bullish signal comes out and we see this, then plus, then got 4 things say buy, then yeah lah, right? But if just one only, then probably not lah. Does it make sense? Right? So yeah, we got a bullish signal. So actually it looks quite okay because we went above the trailing resistance. But if you see that, are there more confirmations saying that it's going to go up? Not really, because you look at the green line, it's actually still pointing down, right? I mean, you tell me you got bullish signal, then the green line, you know, start to like that. Okay, then you win, all right? Fine, that's a positive thing, but no, the green line was actually still pointing down, so we still needed a bit more confirmation. And to share on that, we actually have what we call a 7-step checklist, right? We have a kind of like 4 out of 7. Okay, fine, good. That's a very high kind of a conviction kind of trade, all right? But in that case, we got a bullish signal, but other things are not pointing really up, right? In fact, the short-term trend was actually still down. Now let's take a look at what has happened. So over the past one day, in fact last night, well, we got a bearish signal being triggered. Right? Quite a heavy sell down. I would say one of the largest sell down over the past 5 to 6 years, right? And we kind of like broke below the 440 support level as well. So I think 440 would be a little bit of a support. I mean, we were kind of there like last week, rebounded, and we went below the 440. Now it's 433. Right. So my take is this. I would say that, you know, yeah, because of last night news, you know, earnings coming out below expectations, cloud segment not doing that well, you know, they kind of like give a bit of guidance as well on another segment. All right. Well, I would say that we could still see a bit of short-term weakness in the next 1-2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. All right. We don't have to rush. Okay. Now, what could be the thing that we're looking for to get back in? Let's take a look at this. Right. So you can see that support level would be anywhere from 400. Look at this. I think this is where we were in 2024. Right over here. We got bearish signals. We broke the 400, went all the way down. And the bullish signal, so you can see we are pretty much going back to where we were last year in April, right? We got a bullish signal right over here. We broke the 400 and there we go, all the way up. So now we are nearing kind of like where the 400 support level is right over here. Right? I'm not saying that you'll surely go to 400, but you know, if we go to 400 right over there, 400 to 405, 410 or something, right? That's potentially where some good bargain hunting can come back again, right? Unfortunately, if the 400 were to break down, well, that would be the next level. Then that would be pretty much back to, you know, Trump introduced reciprocal tariffs last year, you know, and then everything sold off, right? Then we'll be back to that level, right? That was like in April last year, 350. Right, so I think key support levels will be 400 first, right, and the 350, which should be really back to April last year, after Trump introduced the tariffs, right? So back to your question, I think there's like 4 or 5 of you, asking about, is it a good time to buy? Should we get out and stuff? Well, I think that we could see a bit of weakness in the short term, right? So we have a plan to get out, stop loss, because you broke, in fact, right, you should have got out, a couple of times, since like November, we got bearish signal since 500. When you broke 500, you should get out, right? But see now you went even lower, right? So first thing first, get out. If a plan, get out. If you see a bearish signal plus other confirmations, that's what we do. Same thing. Do not buy when you see a bearish signal, right? Because that just shows that it's still weak. Okay. And next thing, what do we want to look out for to get that in? Well, I would say that so now we can see, guys, it's something like what we have seen previously last year, right? January, February, pump, down. Green line also point down. Now is what? Now we got pump, 3, 4 bearish signal. Green line is down lah. All right, so green line is down. All right, so something like that, right? So green line is still down. So what we could do is that we could wait to see if this thing happened right over here. I mean, right over here, we do see a bullish signal. This thing, right? You can take, and then you can, you know, I don't know whether you can paste it over here or paste it over here or here. I don't know, right? But basically, if that comes out, right, we hit to those support levels I talk about, the 400 or the 450, 350, right? And then the green line also from this thing, you know, go down, start to U-turn all the way up. All right. I mean, if I can take and I put over here, or I mean, could be here, lah, right? That's where you want to think about getting in. That's where you want to position yourself to ride the potential reversal. Does it make sense, All right, so that's what we could look out for, right? But right now, unfortunately, it just sold off last night. Hopefully, it stabilizes, see some good support coming back near 400, maybe near 420, even better. All right, let's see how it plays out. All right, so that will be for Microsoft, MSFT. Okay, let me pass on the mic to Z, right, to cover the next stock. Z?
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so the next stock that I have over here will be this counter, right? Stock code is SOFI, right? And it's asked by ST25197, right? Good morning. I'm looking to buy Sofi Technology. What's a good entry price, please? Right, so maybe, I don't know, is it because your username is ST also, then you're thinking about Sofi Technologies? But anyway, okay, let's take a look at this, all right? SOFI. Okay, so for Sofi Technologies, right? Right now, I mean, first thing first, when I look at the chart, I will look at the trend first, lah, right? Number one, you've got to look at short-term trend, you've got to look at longer-term trend, right? So short-term trend, long-term trend. Okay, wait, let me just turn off the signals first so that you're just focus solely on the moving average. Okay, there we go. So moving average now, short-term trend green. Not so good, right? Because it's actually pointing down. Longer term trend still okay lah. Red actually going up, then now flattening out. Blue is generally still heading up in the upward direction, right? So first thing I already noticed that short-term trend, long-term trend not aligned lah, right? That is the first kind of like red flag that you should have, right? Because by right, you are thinking about buying, right? Buying anything, I want to make sure that my short-term is up, my longer term is also up, so that I have a higher probability of being on the right side, right? Which is, I want the stock to go up, right? So now, first thing first, short term down, longer term, okay, right? Okay. Then I want to dive a bit deeper and look at, where is my support? Where is my resistance level, right? So for Sofi Technologies, we know that since August, price actually broke above this level, right? And you can see that right over here, I've drawn my support somewhere around this 24. Around this $24, right? And this was previously a resistance back in, somewhere in July, August, right over here. You see, just now I was talking about long lower shadow, right? Now we talk about long upper shadow, and it's near resistance. Selling pressure is actually present, right? And this was actually a resistance. Broke above this $24 resistance. Selling pressure came in, pushed back down to retest this 24 as a support level, right? Once again, somewhere in October, I mean, prices never even touched the 24, right? Buyers came in to step back in, willing to buy at higher prices really. And then again, tested here in November, right? Near the $24, we got long lower shadow indicating buying pressure is present. And then here, once again, never nearly buying comeback, right? And this is where we are right now, right? Which yesterday price closed at 24.36, which is very, very near to back again to this $24 support level. So, okay, now I know that now price is very close to this $24 support level, right? And in terms, then I know, okay, support level is this level, right? Then, of course, I also need to take note of resistance, right? Where's the resistance at? Where's the potential selling pressure coming back in? Because when you think about buying, like we said, buying is easy. But when you think about buying, you should not just think about the entry price. You should think a few steps ahead. Think about your target. Think about your stop loss, right? So that is why your support, your resistance are all very crucial. And those are the things that you already need to know before buying into a stock, right? So when you talk about resistance, so just now we talk about support, where are the buyers coming in? So now when we look at resistance, right over here, right? This I think is something that is very obvious to many people, right? Whereby at this $32 level, this is where prices actually tested at this 1, 2, 3, 4 days, right? And that is where selling pressure came in to push the price back down, right? If you were asking me a couple months back, I would say definitely $32 is one of the resistance that we are looking at, right? But over the past months or so, from December onwards, that's where we see, I think, the resistance, right? The immediate resistance have changed, and potentially it will be lowered, right? To where? Here, I think will be near the $30. Number one, $30 is a psychological level. And number two is that you can see that the sellers are more urgent to actually sell the stock away, not at 32 anymore, but near this $30 where it was actually rejected twice, right? And now price came all the way back down to $24. So I would say that the immediate resistance has, I would say from 32, it has been lowered to $30 lah. Sellers are more urgent to actually sell it away, right? So that indicates more selling pressure, right? So that is just purely based on the support, the resistance, and the trend. I have not even turned on the signals, right? So now let us turn on the signals and let's see. So when I turn on the signals, what do we see? We see a 1GT bearish signal. So when you see a bearish signal, of course, it doesn't mean that the stock will crash, right? It just indicates and tell you that there is indeed more selling pressure returning to this stock. And based on the analysis that we have done earlier, we know that the short-term trend, 20 days moving average, is pointing down, indicating weakness. And we know that over the past 2 months or so, since December, sellers are more urgent to sell it away, and this is where prices is rejected, right? So based on all of this, putting all of this together, right, you would know that at this point in time, maybe it might not be exactly a right time to actually get in, right? Even though, yes, even though we mentioned that support is at this 24, right? And prices is right at this $24, right? But based on all the information that we had earlier on, even though now price is at support level, if you really want to buy, you can buy that. But always make sure to think about your downside, because if prices continue to actually hit in this manner and break the $24, 20 days moving average starts to point out even more, this red line may also starts to turn down, then that's where you got to think about your downside, even if you really think about buying near the support at this point in time. So yeah, so the thing is that it doesn't mean that every time a price is at a support level, we want to think about buying, right? That is true if everything, short term, long term, everything is actually pointing up and is looking good, right? But at this point in time, we already know that the first two things that we want to check about in terms of the trend, the short term, long term, is already not aligned, right? And there's so many other stocks out there in the market, right? So don't have to, just because price is at a support, you want to think about getting in, right? Look at the big picture, right? Look at the big picture, look at the support, and then turn on the indicator, and it gives you a second opinion. I would say it gives you a second opinion as to whether should you really take this trade. All right. And plus, the other thing that I also wanted to highlight is that, just take a look at this. The earnings is actually coming out today before before market actually opens. So that is another catalyst that could either break or make this stock, in a sense whereby tonight earnings result come out, prices can get down, right? And prices get down before $24, then after that, wow, hey, I never buy, right? But then, I mean, of course, if prices get up, then you might, I should have bought earlier, right? But how would you know? How would you know? Because based on this analysis that we have done based on the trend, I mean, of course, at this point in time, it is not that great. It's not ideal, right? It's not ideal. So yeah, if you would not like to participate in especially the volatility because of the earnings result is coming out tonight, then I think perhaps you might want to take a wait and see approach, and definitely monitor this support level as mentioned. If over the next few days, the price, right, actually is able to maintain and hover around this, and you start to see that the 20 days moving average flattening out, right? Flattening out, no longer pointing down, right? And we get another 1GT bullish signal. I mean, that is not too late to enter as well. Okay, so that is when we will also have more confirmation that the stock actually still looking okay, and that is where, then we might want to think about taking more actions because of more confirmations that we have. Okay, so ST, I hope that helped to give you something to think about. Don't have to rush. Always think about looking at the bigger picture, and do your due diligence lah. Okay, that would be for Sofi Technologies. I will pass the time over to Jia Yi to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Z. I think what she said is quite. I really resonate with what she said lah. So even though we say always enter near a support, but it's best to always look at the bigger picture. So even though it's down if it's a downtrending stock, entering near a support doesn't mean it's a good time to enter. So we always look at that's why we have a 1GT 7-point checklist where we actually cover on like looking at the trend, the short-term trend, the long-term trend, and also where is the support and resistance. So yeah, so I agree with what Z said. So moving forward, now I'll be covering the next stock. I think TF was asking about this DPZ. So I was just looking through and I realized DPZ was Domino's Pizza. So actually this this account, I think this is a name that everyone should have heard of, and I usually eat their pizza as well. So that's why I decided to cover on this stock. So actually just looking at a bigger picture wise, this counter actually since 2024 has been trading around that 400 to actually that 500 range. It actually went up to around the 440. There's some resistance there, came back down to 400, break above, couldn't stay above, afterwards came back down. So actually if you notice, just looking at the bigger picture wise, you can see that actually this counter have support near this 400 level. Actually came back down, test a few times, and recently, if you just look at the recent chart wise, in November, it actually came back down to that 400 level again, went back up close to the 440 key resistance level, couldn't break above, came back down. So it's actually now near that 400 support again. So if we just zoom in to the recent months, just looking at the chart wise, you can see that actually the 100 days, the 200 days, and also the 20 days is actually really pointing down. So what does this mean? It actually means that the short term and the long term is actually pointing down, it's showing weakness. So just because of this, it's actually showing weakness. I believe clear answer is actually that's not a good time to enter. But let's just look at the support and resistance wise and where could be a potential entry when there's a reversal. So if we just look at the chart wise, currently it's near this 400 support level, and the resistance is there's some temp resistance at 420, but I would say 440 will be a key resistance that you want to actually look out for, which is also near the 200 days moving average. So currently you might see that prices are actually consolidating or moving around the 400 to 420. If prices are able to break above that 420, you might see that first thing, the 20 days will start to point out. And if breaks above that 420 and stay above it, the 100 days will also start to flatten and also start to point out afterwards. If prices are able to break above that next resistance of 440, which is quite a key resistance level, you also might see that the 200 days also will start to flatten out and also start to point out afterwards. So I would say for now, if you're looking to enter, it might not be a good time to enter, even though 300 or 400 might be the bottom, but we never know. Even though we see that it came down to test the 400 quite a few times, but it doesn't mean this time when it comes down to 400, it will stay above it. It might break below. We wouldn't know. But based on the chart wise, we can see that the 100 days, the 200 days, and the 20 days is actually showing weakness, and this is actually not in our favor. So if you enter near that 400, prices might continue to break below that 400 and show more weakness. Then by then you also have to think of a cut loss to stop loss. But I would say for now, if you're looking at it, it's still a downtrending stock. Wouldn't recommend you to enter near that 400. Also, if I turn on that trailing support and resistance, you can also notice that the trailing resistance is currently near that 420, which is also a resistance we actually identified. So if prices actually break above this 420, you might see that prices, there will be a 1GT bullish signal that appear. So that could be the first 1GT bullish signal that appear. That could be an indication that there might be some trend reversal. And if prices actually broke above that 440 key resistance level and stay above it, there might be another 1GT bullish signal. So when if there's another confirmation that it breaks above the 440 and trend are reversing, if you enter near that 440, the upside will be up to that 500. There's still at least 11%, but you enter with a strong confirmation. So best is to wait for some reversal, wait for the trend to show some maybe flatten out and show some strength before entering. Even though 400 might be a support level, but wouldn't recommend you to enter on this counter for now, because the 100 days, 200 days, and 20 days is all pointing down, and it indicates that it's weakness for this counter. Yep. So hope that's answer your question, TF. And that's all for Domino's Pizza. So I'll pass my time back to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Jia. Right, I didn't know that this Domino's Pizza is listed. Is it the same Domino's Pizza that we have in Singapore, or what? Should be, right?
The logo looks the same, so I believe it should be the same.
Interesting. Okay, I mean, we have not really followed this stock, but guys, I mean, that's one thing. It doesn't mean you like to eat pizza means you must go and buy the pizza stock. I mean, on pizza you like to eat, but the price go down, we don't need to force ourselves. How separate. So you invest in a company, you like to eat pizza, it's different. Okay, you can eat their pizza without investing as well. You only invest or you only get in when the time is right. Okay, Ken? And hopefully it can save you a few dollars to buy the pizza. All right, okay? Okay, now let's move on. Okay, I would say that the next stock, because I was looking at all the stock, how come everything all got bearish signal, why all going down? I got anything good one, all right? And finally I see one come out. All right, very good. So this is asked by Catherine, I hope it's still over here, right? Bloom Energy, BE, right? When is it a good entry? Because I think, oh wow, okay, finally, but I never really followed this stock before, right? But it seems like it looks not too bad, like this, that don't have like every time got 3-4 bearish signal and every time come down one, right? The past few stock we cover, okay? So this looks pretty good, right? In fact, this is it looks like one of the Singapore stocks that we actually share with our clients in Philips Securities. And in fact, I think the Singapore market has been doing quite well as well. All right, Singapore market has been doing quite well. And those of you, as I say, who are clients of ours in Philips Securities, definitely you'll be seeing a lot more of this type of stocks that let bullish signals coming out, and then we could potentially push higher, right? And maybe let me know, guys, how many of you are actually a client of mine in Philips Securities? Type of C for client. If you are a client of mine in Philips Securities, that means you actually have a trading account under me in Philips Securities. Type of C for client. I want to just acknowledge all of you and thank you for just for support in our brokerage business as well. Really appreciate your support. Let me know. The type C for client. Wow, I think quite a lot of clients over here, right? Thank you so much. We have a client, June as well. Dave, thank you so much. Simon, Howard, wow, a lot of clients. Jason, John, yeah, definitely, right? Fiona, client, very good. So I believe all of you will be receiving our daily updates and ideas that look something like these, like in the Singapore market, all right? And so check your WhatsApp, right? You should be receiving our daily updates ideas by WhatsApp, like if you're a client of mine in Philips Securities. Thank you so much. All right, ST, Ajit, Muyak Tree as well. Very good. All right, very good. Now, basically, I just want to do a quick shout out. I mean, for those of you who are not yet a client, like many of our clients over here, right, who are getting our daily updates and ideas on WhatsApp for free, all right, and that looks bullish, that looks like these stocks I'm going to talk about right now in a bit. Well, what happens is that you can consider to become a client of mine for free, right? Because that's where you can get some of those top ideas, especially the Singapore market that has been doing quite well. In fact, even stronger than the US market over the past 6 to 7 months, right? So link is right in the chat. I think just place the link in the chat, right? Find out how you can become a client of mine in Philips Securities to get some of those ideas, all right, for free at no additional cost. Okay, so link right in the chat. Don't just watch, but you can get these ideas much faster, all right? And then the time we do live like this, by the time the price might have gone up a little bit, right? And in Singapore, as I say, there's a lot of opportunities you definitely don't want to miss out on. Okay, so link in the chat, click on it, find out more as to why and how you can become a client of mine in Philips Securities, like many of our clients over here, right? Many of our clients over here. Okay, now let's go back to this stock that finally it looks a bit more bullish than what we have covered previously, right? And this is Bloom Energy, right? Bloom Energy by Catherine, right? So very simple. You can see that for Bloom Energy, well, we got, let's just go back to June. I mean, like June, July, pump. We got 2 bullish signals. Well, that looks good. The green line turns up. Long-term trend slightly starting to turn up. And we saw that massive move up all the way up. Finally, you got a bearish signal. Take some profit, get out. How many percent? What? 442%. So much. I thought it was only like 40 over 442% in about like 5-6 months. Wow, okay, not too bad. I mean, that's quite a lot. So I think take some profit, get out. You see a bearish signal, don't need to be greedy. 400% is still greedy for it, right? Get out, all right? And of course, you see the green line also start to turn down. You see, so you start to see a bit of a pullback, right? So want to get in, want to get out. All right, you see a bullish signal, you think about getting in. You see a bearish signal, you get out. Take some profit, don't go and buy. All right, be patient. Right now, over the past 1 month, right? So we say be patient, be patient, be patient, wait for what? Wait until the signal come out. Wait until the stock show the new 1GT bullish signal. And when I look at this stock, well, indeed, it came out, right? It came out on the 8th of January to be exact, about 3 weeks back. Long-term trend, look at the red and blue line is up already, so no problem. Our long-term trend is up, but you can see when we got a bearish signal, the short-term trend was down. We need to wait for the short-term trend to also turn back up. Does it make sense, all right? Did it turn back up? Yeah, it was down, still down in December, still down, January beginning, still down, New Year past, still down. 8th of Jan, finally turned up right now. I would say it's still up lah. Make sense, all right? So it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good, right? Definitely we are seeing, in fact, I think it's gone up a bit already from the bullish signal. It was like 120, now it's what? Oh, now already 156 already. It really went up a bit already, right? I mean, based on this bullish signal. But these are definitely stocks that we would, if you tell me you want to think about getting in, I think it's fine because we got a bullish signal, we got a reason to get in, we got a confirmation, a bullish signal, the long-term trend is up, the short-term trend is aligned, it's up as well, all right? So it's a stock to think about getting in, all right? But now let's move on to the next part of the equation, right? You say you can get in, but then, hey, Joey, what price? Anyhow, this one price go in, is it? Well, let's find out, right? So you can see right over here, we could see a bit of support over here at about the $140, right? That is where we saw a bit of resistance. Over the past 2 weeks, we broke the 140 resistance, which seems to be a support level right now. I mean, over the past 2 weeks, you see that's where we are now, rebounded back up. Now it's around the 156. So horizontal support could be anywhere near the 140. So if it does dip to near 140, well, now that's where you could think about getting in near horizontal support. But remember what Jai and Z mentioned just now, right? Doesn't mean you get in, doesn't mean you go to support means you don't buy, right? Because that one was different. That one you got bearish signal, it's going down, the short-term trend is down. You hit the support, you go and buy, good luck. If the support break, good luck to you, right? Go down some more, right? But this case is different. We're starting to see a reversal, all right? The bullish signal has come up. The short-term trend turn up. You are near a support. Does it make sense, right? It is different. We are going up, right? On the way up, right? So that's the difference on when to get in support. So not just anyhow get in support because you think that it will rebound, right? But it must also align with other confirmation. And as I say, right, that's where we have a one good trend 7-step checklist that lists pretty much everything up. All right. Okay. So you can see 140, maybe a bit of horizontal support. That's where we have seen prices hovering above over the past 2 weeks. If we can quickly turn on the trailing support just to get another confirmation, you can see that the trailing support is right over here around 125, slightly lower. Why? Because as I said just now, the trailing support, you give the stock the space, right? So got a bit of space, right? So a bit lower, right? So as long as you're above the trailing support, you're fine. In fact, if it does near the trailing support, also even better, right? If you get in there, there'll be slightly more attractive prices. But doesn't mean you want it to go there to buy, means you go there to buy, right? Sometimes you might just down a little bit and people start to buy and start to go back up, right? So, but that could become like the range whereby you could think about a good entry because we are getting confirmations whereby it's looking definitely a bit more bullish, right? And even if you get in, one thing is this, right? Even if you get in, guys, you have a good entry. It's not just about just buying and then just leave it there and then don't bother, and then hopefully it goes up for the next 2 or 5 years, right? You want to have a plan as well, all right, to protect your profits, right? To protect your profits, to get out when bearish signal actually comes out. Like for example, previously when we were right over here, we actually got, as I say, bullish signals, right? Everything was looking good, all the way up, all right? And then when this bearish signal comes out, if you're still holding on to it, I mean, thankfully, we start to reverse back right now, but actually, you could go all the way down, if you didn't get out, right? So you also want to know when to get out, all right? When you see a bearish signal, right? So what you could do is to set an alert, right? So in case we did not mention all these signals, okay, the link is right in the chat. I say, guys, you can have a test drive of the one good trend light indicator. So we are using the Pro. It's a bit more advanced stuff. We got more boxes, and stuff, but we do have a light version, all right, that is simpler, all right? You can just simply turn on the bullish and bearish signals. We have the moving averages right over there, but all the advanced stuff is not there, right? So let's try the light version for free for 14 days. The link is right in the chat. Check it out, right, for free. I think you get more than $3,000 worth of bonuses, right? Just for testing it out, for trading, just to test out, all right, okay? And this is the light indicator. So what you could do is, I say, we could set an alert, right? So let's say now you got in, right? But you don't want to just get in and just leave it there, right? You want to have a plan in case this bearish signal come out. I mean, I don't know whether it will come out when, but let's say you go, all the way up, and then you see this bearish signal coming out over here or here, then maybe you want to get out lah. All right. So what can you do is to set an alert. All right. You can right click, add an alert, one good trend pro indicator, buy or sell alert, and that's what we do, right? Once per bar, create. All right. You can be alerted by an app. There's like a WhatsApp app notification thing on sound, right? There's an email, right? Or a toast notification, which would be something like a pop-up right over here. So normally I choose the pop-up, right? So that's how you can be alerted, right? So not just about getting in, but also when to get out. Does it make sense? And that's so important as well, right? Not just about buy, but I don't know when to get out, right? Coming down all the way, you're still holding all the way down. No point, right? Okay, so I hope that helps. All right. So, Catherine, thank you so much for sharing this stock with us. Definitely one of the stock that we can put in our watch list as well. And at least it's something more bullish rather than all those are going down, right? So you can put this stock in your watch list that's shared by Catherine Carroll. Thank you so much. All right. So let me pass on the mic to Z to cover the next US stock. Z.
All right. Thanks, Joey. Okay, let me share my screen over here. And I think the next stock, I'll be same bandwagon as well by Joey, whereby the stock is in an uptrend one. And I think this is actually asked by Benjamin, right? Benjamin and Ian. I saw two of you guys actually asking about this stock. Let me see, where's your comment? Yeah, Benjamin looking to enter a position in for an entry point. So thinking about buying, right? Then Ian, on the other hand, Ian is thoughts about on the 1GT, right? What does it say? Where's the resistance? Where's the support, right? And accumulate for dividend or take profit. So for Ian case, where you already have the stock, right? You already have the stock, and you mentioned that you bought at average cost price of $66, right? Take a look at Southern Corporation. But before I begin, right, maybe I'll just do a very quick recap of some of the stocks that we've already covered, because I see some of the comments is asking about the same stock that we have already covered. But don't worry, because after this live show, you will be able to watch the replay on YouTube, right? So the first thing that Joey actually covered was the market update, right? He actually did the S&P 500 as well as the NASDAQ Composite, right? Then the very first stock that he analyzed today was Palantir, right? And then after that, I did SPDR Gold ETF, GLD, and he actually covered Broadcom, AVGO as his first stock. And that would be the third stock, right? And the fourth stock that we covered today was RTX Corporation, followed by Target Corporation, then Oracle. Okay, and then following that would be Microsoft, MSFT, and Sofi Technologies, and then Domino's Pizza. And Joey has just covered Bloom Energy, right? DE. Okay, so now this will be the 11th stock for today, and you'll be covering Southern Copper Corporation, right? And I think before I dive right into this, right, I think I saw one comment, right, by Simon, right? Simon, he said he's a client but not getting the daily WhatsApp. So just now when Joey was actually talking, right, I went to do a quick check with our broking team, because I realized that perhaps you're actually transferring in the midst of transferring your account, right? So I think the back end, the Philip Security back end team is actually still processing it. So do give them some time, right? So once your account is actually fully transferred, the broking team will actually reach out to you to get you onboarded as Joey's client, and that's where they'll actually share more about this WhatsApp as well. So just be patient, hang in there. You're almost there, right? You're almost there, and that's where you can actually receive Joey's WhatsApp broadcast. Okay, so right now let me dive right into this Southern Copper Corporation. Okay, so Southern Copper Corporation, definitely, I think jumping onto Joey's bandwagon, this is definitely a stock that is still looking great, right? The long-term, short-term, everything pointing up. Plus, I already turned on the 1GT bullish signal, and you can see that there's not one, but there's two, right? There's two 1GT bullish signal right over here, right? I think the first one actually came out in December last year, and then the second one came out in 19 December as well, right? And these two signals are actually still playing out, and we see that prices continue to head up, right? Earnings result came out on 27 January, not too long ago, right? And prices still seems to be pretty well and is holding above support levels, right? So let's take a look at this as to what actually happened in terms of the price action over the past couple of months, right? Even the Q4 of 2025. Right, so Q4 of 2025, November, October, November, December, this was where we actually saw, price actually broke above, and it was actually kind of like testing this two range, right, around 120 and also these 150 level, right? So this was the range that it was kind of like trading about, I would say, this is a $30 range, right? From 120 to about 150, 120 to about 150, about close to a $30 range that we are talking about, right? And then price break above this resistance at 150, and that's where we started to see the price continue to head up with a lot of strength, coupled with the 2-1 GT bullish signal that's still playing out. Right, so maybe let me cover both sides as well, because Benjamin is asking about entry, right? Ian is asking about, now with existing position, what should we do? Should we take profits or maybe consider to accumulate more positions, right? So perhaps some of you guys here might be sitting on either side of the camp, right? So with that in mind, let's take a look at the support and the resistance as well, because those are the key things that you need to take note of, regardless of whether you're thinking about buying or you're thinking about selling, right? So when we take a look at this, you can see that I've drawn my support, right, somewhere around this $190 around this $190. Why did I draw at $190 in terms of the immediate support, right? It's because over the past couple of candlesticks that we can see over here, we can see that there's some sort of resistance appearing at 190, whereby candlesticks are indicating long upper shadows, right? And that, like I said earlier on, indicates selling pressure is actually present, right? And subsequently, when price actually break above this 190, we actually see bullish candlesticks actually happening, a green candlesticks. And even though there's a very red candlestick here, right, on the 28th of January, but like what I've mentioned, there is long lower shadow. And that tells you that buying pressure is present. They are willing to come in to buy at this level and push the price up, right? So that's the reason why I drew at 190, because previously it was a resistance and now it is a support. And it actually gives you a indication as to last time selling pressure is present. Now buyers are actually present, right? So this 190, I would say, would be the immediate support that I'll take note of, all right? And in terms of resistance, based on the candlestick yesterday, I mean, of course, you can see that 220 is where, the price starts to be rejected, right? That's where sellers are at to push the price back down, right? And of course, apart from that as well, if I were to take a look at the price action that was being, from November all the way to the start of January, right? This was the range that we were talking about, a $30 range, right? And if I were to do a projection up like that, right, you can see that roughly it's actually also about the same, from 190 all the way to the 220 resistance. So that's the reason why I actually indicated 190 as my support. 220 would be my immediate resistance that I'll be taking note of, right? So in terms of entry, right, we talk about entry first, then we talk about exits and also maybe taking profits, right? So based on this, now we know that it supports somewhere around 190, right? Then this could be one of the zones that you can set some price alert, right? Like what Joey mentioned earlier on, even 1 GT bullish alerts as well. But on top of that, you can also set some price alert near the support zone to potentially, like what Ian thinking about, right? Maybe you want to accumulate even more positions, right, near support zone, especially when the uptrend is actually still intact. Or perhaps like Benjamin, who totally have no position, but thinking about getting in, right, from zero, right? So since the uptrend is intact, we want to buy near a support, right? So this would be valid, right? This is where we can potentially set some price alert to alert you, especially if price, were to actually pull back and enter this potential zone of entry. Okay, but of course, the thing is that we don't recommend chasing a stock, because especially if you want to chase a stock, that's where you get a bit emotional. And if you see the price fluctuate, and then that's where your trading plan will be thrown out the window. We don't want to chase a stock. We never want to chase a stock. So we want to be patient, look for the support zone, and that's where you want to set alerts to be notified when price reach that zone. Okay, so that is talking about accumulation, talking about buying, right? Then now, of course, just now we mentioned resistance around 220, right? So this would be, of course, an area that, like for Ian, right, and also for those of you who have this stock in your portfolio, right, and you are thinking about, taking some profits, nothing wrong, right? Nothing wrong to take profits near this 220 level. And in fact, what I actually hope to see is for actually prices to actually consolidate like that before actually breaking up over the 220. Because as you can see from here to here, when price actually broke above this 150 all the way to where we are at, it is close to 42%, right? And there's no consolidation happening for like 1 month, right? Maybe here maybe this period right over here near this 180, but it's not I would say meaningful consolidation, right? So if there's a meaningful consolidation actually happening like this, right, from October all the way to, let's say, January, something like that, you copy paste, put it here, right? like that, right? Then that is where the uptrend will be even more sustainable, and that is where we know that this stock is actually still solid, right? Especially if along the way we see even more 1GT bullish signal coming out, prices forming higher supports. Okay, so yeah, so I think I've covered like both sides, right? Those of you who already have a position, and those of you who are thinking of adding on more positions, or like you are thinking of potentially entering these new counters lah. So definitely, I think this stock still looks great. Just be patient, don't rush, right? Never rush into buying a stock just because FOMO, right? Just because you fear of missing out. Okay, so I think that would be SCCO. I hope that helps for Ian and also for Benjamin, and also for those of you who are thinking about, hey, this stock looks not too bad, I want to end your watch list. Okay, so with that, I'll pass the time over to Jiayi to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Z. So the next stock that I'll be covering will be on this counter. I think Emma, can look at MP Materials bought at 69. Okay. Yeah. So actually, I was just looking at this counter wise. No, 60. You bought at 69. So could be that you bought it recently near this level around here. Not too sure, is it here or is it previously you bought it and hold and it comes down. But no worries. Just let us look at the chart wise for this counter. So I believe this counter wise since last year, mid of last year, actually has been showing strength. Since in June 4th, actually there's a 1GT bullish signal actually that appears, and afterwards the counter went up, shoot up from actually, if you were to enter during that period until now it's actually upside, if you enter and there was a 1GT bearish signal and you let go, there was an upside of about 250%. But I think after it hit that near the 100 resistance level back in October, and there was a 1GT bearish signal that appeared, you can actually see that the 20 days moving average actually starts to turn down, and there was another 1GT bearish signal that appeared. So previously there was some strength, but weakness came in, and afterwards now let's look at the chart now. So if you just look at the chart recently, there's a 1GT bullish signal that appeared. So actually, if you just look at the support and resistance wise, I would say there's some support near this 60 to 61 level. And when it broke above this 60 level previously, there's a 1GT bullish signal that appeared. So currently, based on the chart and the trend wise, the 200 days moving average is pointing up. The 100 days is actually still kind of like flattening. But if prices are able to stay above this 61 level and slowly move up, you might see that there might be more strength in terms of the midterm. But if you notice, the 20 days moving average is already starting to point up. So, and there's 1GT bullish signal that appeared. So 60 might be a good entry level, if you are looking at this counter. But I saw that, Emma, you actually bought it around 69. I would say actually around the 60, 70 level, you might see some temporary resistance, which actually you might have entered near a resistance level. So, it's best to always identify where the support could be and where the resistance is. So if you actually enter near this 61, 62 level, which is near a stronger support, the next upside towards that 80, there could be a 27% upside. But when you enter near a 69, this price level, your upside is actually limited by the next resistance. But not to worry, since you already bought it, now what can we do moving forward? So I would say for now, the trend wise, the 100 days still kind of flattening, the 20 days is pointing up, and the 200 days still pointing up. 60 is a support level which you want to monitor, and if prices break below this 60 level, you might see that the next support might be around that 50, which actually came down to test a few times. So it depends on your risk appetite as well. So previously when you enter near the 69, what was your entry price, what was your stop loss price, and what's your target in mind? I would say for now, if you monitor, best is to monitor to see whether prices are able to stay above this 60 to 61 level. But if prices are not able to stay above this, you might see more weakness towards that 50, which is from your price level down to that next support, it might be a down of 25%. So it depends on whether you are willing to take this risk or how much risk you are willing to take. So, but if prices are start to break below this 60, you might want to consider to maybe cut loss first, wait for the price to stabilize, to see how the trend is before re-entering again. But I would say for now, 60 would be a support level that you might want to closely monitor to see whether it's able to stay above. If prices are able to stay above, maybe consolidate around this 60 to 70, and if prices manage to break above this 70, you might see that the next upside would be towards the 80 first, before another upside towards the all-time high, which is 100. Yep. But I would say if prices are able to break above this 70, near the 80, you might want to consider to take some profit and keep some to ride the wave upwards. Yeah, so that's all for MP materials. Hope that answer your questions. If not, I'll pass on my time back to Joey.
Okay, thank you so much, Jaya. I think now we have covered a total of like 12 US stocks already. Let's just do maybe one final round. Let's do one final round, right, very quickly. And let's try to cover like total of 15 stocks. And as I say, guys, at the end, right, at the end, that's where, me, Jia Yi, and also Z will actually share one bonus US stocks that, that we like, right, that you could put in your watch list for potentially more upside as we hit into 2026. More, right? So make sure you stay all the way to the end, right? And in fact, I've seen, I mean, later I'll cover one stock and I actually check, some of you actually asking about that stock. So I'm not going to cover it because at the end I'm going to cover already, right? So maybe yours might be the stock, right? In case I purposely never cover. Okay, again, so stick around, right? Stay all the way to the end, and that's where you can find out what would be the 3 bonus stocks, right, that you want to watch as well. Okay, now let me go ahead to share my screen and let's cover one more round very quickly. The next US stock would be that of Meta. All right. Okay, I think there's some question as well. Jane, thank you so much. Is this analysis done every Friday? Yes, Jane. Maybe you're first time over here. All right. So essentially, guys, if you're like kind of like scrolling through Facebook or maybe even on YouTube where we're live, this is what we call the Ask Me Any Stock session. So every Friday we go live. All right. Today is the US market. We alternate between the US and the Singapore market. So last Friday was Singapore. So today US, next Friday Singapore again. Right. So pretty much we just cover the stocks that you're asking about. Thank you so much, Yakshri, for helping to answer. So I really like this community. You're really helping one another, even help us to answer other attendees as well. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Right. Okay. Now let's go ahead to cover the next stock, right? The next stock, and that would be Meta. So very simple. I think a lot of you are asking about Meta. Let me just go to put your comments one by one. All right. Over here we have Benjamin. Mukya Tree. Oh, me actually answering Benjamin. Okay, Meta versus MSFT, pole opposite chart. Yeah, indeed, right? We covered Microsoft just now. So let's take a look at Meta to see whether is it different, right? Whether different, right? Let's see, right? We have Kunaf. I bought Meta at 650 and holding. How much upside? So you bought 650. Oh, not bad. Now it's 738. So okay, make a bit of money. Let's see whether it can go up some more. Okay. Let's see. Gary, Meta, you bought at 610. Well, not bad. You bought a bit cheaper than Kunaf, right? He's one in 650, you're on 610, again, even before him. Should I hold on or sell? All right, hands yellow heart rate. Okay, now maybe it's an emoticon. Okay, let's go to find out. So let's take a look at Meta right now, right? Should you wait for it to go up even more to take some profit? Where could be the levels you could think about, selling some positions or locking in some profits? Let's find out. So you can see right over here for Meta, well, we have seen a bit of support coming out at this level right over here, around the 600. So 600 would be a very key psychological support. We're right over here in November, went up, we came back down in January, just 2 weeks back. Same thing, we rebounded from the 600 level. And there's this very key, I would say, resistance right over here, around that 680 to that 700 level, right? So 680 to 700. And you can see over the past 2 days. So in fact, last night when MSFT Microsoft sold down, well, Meta actually did the opposite, right? I think that's what Mukya said, right? Pole opposite charts. One went up, one went down. All right. So you can see that for Meta, what happens is we saw a very strong gap up. All right. And I think the earnings announcement was like reported Q4 revenue of $59.89 billion, up 24% year over year. Very strong revenue, above expectations, and that's what you can see, right? Earnings announcement could go one way, could go the other way as well. For Meta, fortunately, it was a good thing, all right? So we have gapped up above the 680 to 700 resistance level. So not too bad. We have got out of this consolidation phase right over here, right? Since November for 2 over months. Every time we go up, we come back down, we come back down. Another bearish candle, come back down again, come back down, right? But today, never come back down. Today, I mean, not today, last night, went back up, right? We broke the resistance level. That's a good thing, right? That's one of the confirmations that we seek as well in terms of more upside momentum, potentially continuing, right? And that's what we've seen. Pretty strong, right? Now, what will be the next resistance level for Meta? Well, I would say that after 700, after 680, that could be the upside all the way up, and quite clearly that would be the 800 level, right? 800. Why? I mean, that was where we were, right? In August, you can see we were right over here, then go down a bit, then come back up again, then same thing over here, then come back down again, right? So 800 will be what we call a sell zone, right? A resistance level, an area where some heavy selling can come back again. So to answer your question, right, should I hold or sell on? Well, I mean, I would say right now it looks pretty bullish, but if we were to hit to near 800, now it's 738, so if we go to near 780 something, 790 something, that's where some selling can come back. So you can take some profit if you want near that, right? But if that level, that resistance to break, well, we could even see more upside momentum. Now, let's go to turn on maybe the bull. So I've done a manual analysis, but actually, don't you talk so much, right? Actually, I can just like straight away turn on the bullish and bearish signals, and then see what it says, right? So let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, bam. For my one good trend pro indicator. So very quickly, you can see for Meta, I mean, you can see for yourself, wow. So previously, we got like a bullish or pump, right? All the way up. Then, wow, that was in 2025. Got bearish one, come down a bit, go come down some more, bearish, come down, right? So another bullish signal in April last year. Then we saw the reversal all the way up. Then now you got bearish signal. So every time you get bearish signal, you see it starts coming down. I think you can see yourself. And so that was like in September, you got 3 bearish signal, then all the way down again, right? So let's take a look at what would be the most recent signal, right? I would say that right now, well, we got a bearish signal like last week, but a new one got triggered as well. So a new bullish signal got triggered, I would say, on the 23rd of January, last Friday, not too bad. So about a week, right? A week ago, it came out, right? It's starting to play out. You can see the green line starting to turn up as well yesterday. So not too bad. We have broke the 700 resistance level, right? The 680 to 700. So I think it looks pretty good, right? So we got a bullish signal. We've gone up. We've broke the 700. The short-term trend is starting to turn up. Potential upside, I say, could be all the way back to the 800 level, right? So it's definitely looking more bullish than what we saw last week, whereby it was just kind of like moving sideways. Cool. All right. So that is for Meta platforms. And as I say, guys, I mean, you can simply see that let me just remove everything to keep it simple. I think some of you are asking about the bullish. Sorry, I mean, like where to get the indicator and stuff, right? So what happens is, let me just state again. Basically, we do have a light. This is a pro version, but we do have a one good trend light indicator, right, for free, right? Can test drive it. The link is right in the chat. I think just place the link in the chat again, all right? And pretty much it allows you to, just turn on the bullish and bearish signals, like pump, gone, nothing, empty, all right? Pump on, guides you, clarity, confidence, what to do, right? Don't buy, wait first, sell first, right? In seconds. Right, just by turning on. So if you see like a bearish signal, then you still want to hold, then good luck to you, right? But if you see a bullish signal, then you want to buy, then even better, You get more confidence to get back in, right? So 14 days free trial to the one good trend light indicator. Check it out, all right? And that's where, I hope it helps you, right? To like how it helps us and also many of our graduates as well. Cool, all right? So that is for Meta platforms. Let me pass on the mic to Z to cover the next US stock. Z?
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so the next stock that I have over here would be by CMC, right? CMC 2664. I hope you're still here. You're asking quite a lot of stocks. I invested in Net, Twilo, App, and Snow before they tanked and they finally broke even. Wondering whether to sell or is there any further upside? Okay, so maybe I will just talk about the last one, which is Snow lah. Okay, I'm not too sure what's your average cost price. If you're still here, maybe you can let me know, because you mentioned that now they finally break even. So I'm assuming that you buy and then it went all the way down, you hold all the way down, and now it go back to the break even price lah. Then you're thinking whether to sell or just continue holding and to see if whether the stock can go up even more since you already hold so long, right? So if you're still here, maybe you can let me know lah. Let me know for Snow, right? What's your average cost price, right? Because you mentioned that now it finally broke even. Okay, so before, so in the meantime, I'm waiting for CMC to hopefully still here and can reply me on the average cost price. Let me just dive into the chart itself for Snowflake. All right, so Snowflake right over here, right? We can see that Snowflake, short-term trend not so good lah, right? Why? Very obvious that the green line is actually pointing down, right? Longer term trend, if you were to ask last year, right, you know, it is definitely going up, right? But it has started to flatten out and taper out, both the red and the blue lah. And the red is even more obvious, right? You can see that it's going up and now it's starting to show some signs of it, right? Starting to point out already. If I were to zoom in big enough, you can see it's starting to flatten and point down a bit already, right? The blue one still okay lah. At least it's not like the red. At least it's not pointing down yet. All right. So what we know from this is that short-term weakness, right? Definitely short-term weakness. Why 20 days moving average is pointing down? And plus the fact that just based on yesterday's candlestick, and you can see it yesterday closed at what? 199.37. And it was actually a very large gap down from the day previously. And from the day previous, you can see that this candlestick itself, wow, very bearish. Even though it's green, but it's bearish because of the long upper shadow, right? So all of this is already a telltale sign that hey, maybe the short-term weakness is really quite strong and it's present, right? And I have not even turned on the signals yet, right? So if I were to turn on the signals, based on what you already know, and now you see the signals, how many signals do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. 3 consecutive bearish signals. And 3 consecutive bearish signal plus what we just mentioned in terms of the short-term strength, the short-term weakness, right? Not so good, right? Not so good. So if for CMC, right, if you mentioned that you have already broke even, and I'm not too sure what's your average cost price, because if based on the 199 yesterday's closing price, you are already sitting on profits, or maybe your profits have a little bit, or maybe you just cover your cost price, I think this is where you might want to consider to actually protect whatever that you still have left, because based on all of these signals, not that great because of 3-1 GT, bearish signal, short-term pointing down, and price gap down, and the candlesticks are looking pretty bearish, right? So in terms of like support levels, right, if you think that maybe never mind, I'll give it a try, I want to continue to hold and see how it plays out, because I already hold so long, right? So the support that maybe you might want to take note of, especially, right, will be, I think, very, very crucial, somewhere near this 190. As you can see, this was where previously after earnings came out in May, price get up, right? We got 1 GT bullish signal, then selling pressure came in, and this support level at 190 was actually retested, at least I think about 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so, somewhere in August in 2025, right? So I would say that this 190 is definitely a very, very crucial support to take note of, especially if over the next couple of days or weeks, right, and you see that price cannot hold above this 190 and break below it, I think very likely we will have another 1 GT bearish signal coming out. Means that will be the 4th one, and I don't think that is a point whereby you want to continue holding any longer, because now you have already broke even. You continue hold any longer, it back to square one, right? And then the whole cycle repeat again, and perhaps you might need to, I don't know, hold even longer, which is not what you want. And that is basically opportunity cost, right? So I hope that is a very quick analysis, and that helps you to make a decision, right, whether should you continue to sell or is there any further upside, because at this point in time it looks pretty bearish, okay? So that would be for Snowflake, a very quick one. And now I'll pass the time over to Jiayi to cover the last stock for today before we move on to our bonus stock.
All right, thank you, Z. Okay, the last stock that I'll be covering on will be actually on TSM. I think a user was asking about a few stocks, AI bubble fear come back again, holding a few stocks with profit, what price to sell it. So I think just now I covered AVGO, but now I'll be covering on TSM. So just give me a sec. Okay, I think TSM is a counter that everyone is looking at because of the AI. Everyone is interested in AI, so I think TSM actually had a good run last year since April. Since April it rebounded from the 140, and since then till now is up 132%. But just looking at the chart wise, I would say the 100 days and 200 days is still pointing up, still showing strength, and the 20 days is also pointing up. I believe, what you say. I'm not too sure what's the price that you enter at, but since you say there's some profit, you're asking on what price to sell at. Let's look at the chart for now. Okay, just give me a sec. Okay, so if we just look at the chart wise, previously the price actually broke above this 270 resistance level, now turning into a new support. It went up to that 310, couldn't break above, came back down. So it was actually moving around that 270 to 310 level. So for October to actually last year, December. So only in second Jan, which is New Year, it actually broke above that 310, which is a key resistance level previously, and went up a bit more. So currently, if we just look at the chart wise, I'll say there's some resistance near this 340. The prices actually is around this 340 level. There's some resistance near that 340 to maybe that 350, 345 level. If we were to look at the chart wise, this is near a resistance. This could be an area that you can consider to take some profit, since we are not too sure whether prices are able to break above this level. If prices are not able to break above this level, you might see that it might come back down to the 310 support level, which is near the trailing support as well. So if you are looking to sell, what price to sell at, you can consider to sell some near this resistance level, which is around like 340 to 345. And if prices are able to break above this 345, the next upside target could be around that 380. The reason why is because we just do a simple projection from 310 to maybe 345 or 340. Just doing an upside projection, is around at 377 to 380. So if prices are able to break above this 345 level, you might see that there's small upsides towards that 380 level, which you can also consider to take some profit near that level as well. But we wouldn't know how the price will move. But if you want, you can secure some profit near this level currently, hoping or to see that how the price will move moving forward. If prices come back down to that 310, if you want, you can also consider to enter again, to add on again, since it's near the new support, it's near the support level. And if prices rebound back up to the 350, you can actually let go some again, and it continues to go up. 380 might be the next target level that you can consider to look at. Yeah, so hope that answer your questions, user. And I think with that, I'll pass on my time back to Joey to cover the first bonus stock.
All right, thank you so much. And I think that is pretty much all the US stocks that we have covered. All right, today I think we've covered a total of like 15, right? 15 US stocks. Let me just go to just say out the names very quickly. So if you miss any parts, you can watch the replay. So I covered the market, the S&P 500 index, even the NASDAQ right at the beginning, all right? Some of the factors affecting the market, right? And some of the key levels that you definitely want to watch for the market as well. The very first stock I covered was Palantir, right? And then Go, right? Z covered Go. We have Broadcom, RTX Corporation, Target, ORCL, Microsoft, Sofi Technologies, Domino Pizza, Bloom Energy. We have a Southern Copper Corporation. We have MP Materials, Meta Platforms, Snowflake, and finally, Jia just covered Taiwan Semiconductor. All right, so that is pretty much, guys, the 15 stocks that you asked today, and we do our best to cover it. I hope you guys got value today. All right, just type a V for value, guys. You got some value today before we go on to the bonus stock session. Let me know, guys, you got value, you learned something about the strategy. All right, you learned something about your stock that you asked, a bit clearer what to do, what not to do as well. V for value, let me know, and acknowledge all of you. This for joining us every single Friday, and I know some of you are regulars, right? Every Friday I see your name here. Thank you so much, right? Yeah, Yaktri, thank you so much. V, Brandon, V as well. Value, Oracle, Daphne Wong as well. Value, Ethan, value, Colleen, Simon Xia, value. Okay, thank you so much, right? I really appreciate you guys, right? Just typing value and just appreciating the efforts that we do just to make sure that you guys get value as well. All right, okay, very good. Now let's go ahead to move on. Let's move on to the next segment. All right, and that would be pretty much what you guys are waiting for, right? The bonus stock that we like. So we've covered the stocks that you guys asked. Now it's my turn, right? My turn to share with you one of the stocks that has been in our watch list for a while, why we like it, previously, why we still like it now today, all right? And what are potentially some of the targets? Hopefully you can put it in your watch list too, right? Some of those gains with us, all right? So the very first bonus stock that I'd like to share with you would be this company called Micron Technology. The code is MU, Micron. So this is the stock actually that I've covered in like the last AMAS session on the US market. All right, Micron. Team just placed the thing in the chat again, the banner. All right, and I thought, why not just cover it again, because it looks still pretty bullish, right? Rather than just trying to find another bullish stock, it still looks bullish. We have covered it previously. Well, let's see what it can look like again, right? So this is Micron. You can see that price now is about $435. Right? So let me just turn on the bullish and bearish signals. So what happens is, I think by now you guys can see that when we analyze your stock, and even this stock as well, we can turn on the signals, the bullish 1GT, which stands for one good trend signals. Any stocks, any asset classes, even the market, in 2 seconds. All right, pump. There we go. Pump, gone, blur, don't know what to do, right? Pump on, clarity, whether to buy or don't buy. That's it, right? So that's what we do, right? So you can see that for Micron, why did it come to and watch this? Well, it wasn't always my watch list, right? In fact, it was quite boring. In November, we got a bearish signal, thinking what it's doing, right? Moving sideways. But somewhere around December, pump, we got 2 bullish signals. And we got alerted to it, right? So how do we get alerted? As I say, right? We can get alerted by 2 ways, right? First of all, you just type the name and then you turn on the signal and then you see lah. That's the super manual way, like just one by one type, then you see, type, then you see, then you see the signal on the chart, then you see, okay? But what if like the signal come out, then you can let me know or not? Like, so I don't need to go and type in the name and see, right? Cannot. Can, right? So you can set an alert. So actually we set an alert previously, right? In like last year. And, one good trend pro, right over here, indicator, buy or sell alert, once per bar, right? Normally put like once per bar. So any triggers, any criteria meet, we get the signal, you will be alerted by an app, email, or even a toast notification, something like a pop-up. All right, so we were alerted, right, somewhere in December. I mean, I talked about it maybe like in the last month or something in the previous AMAS US session, right? Of course, it's gone up a little bit already. I think we covered here, then it went up a bit more. But why not still cover it again? Because I think it still looks good. Because right now, okay, so I mean, let's take a look. So you can see previously, even in August, pump. So every time we got 2 bullish on pump, another one that was in May, right? Every time we get a bullish signal plus other confirmations, 50%. All right, that was in August. Same thing, we got another bullish signal, September, 81%. This one is what? This one from December 81% again. Right, so every time you get a bullish signal, as I said, doesn't mean you get a bullish signal means you buy lot. But if you get a bullish signal, plus I see another thing also say buy, plus I see another thing also say buy, and total we got 4 out of 7 things say buy. Then like that lah, 就是不用讲太多啦, you get what I mean? So it's like even more bullish. Does it make sense? All right, so that's what I mean, right? So you can see right now, well, of course it's gone up a little bit already. I mean, not a little bit, like quite a lot lah, okay? But it still looks bullish, right? It still looks bullish. Short-term trend, the green line that was like flat, as I say, a bit boring in November, December, right? Started to turn up in January, right? Long-term trend, the red and blue, don't need to say that has been up since last year. So long-term trend is up, short-term trend is up. It looks pretty bullish still. Now, I would say resistance-wise would be around the 450. 450. It's a very key, I would say, psychological resistance level. Right up here, past 2 days, seems like there's some selling over there, which I think is normal. Right? I think it's good to see a bit of consolidation below the 450 for a while. Up, down. Support-wise, I would say maybe around 400. So 400 to 450. $50, right? Up, down. You might do like that for the next 1 week, right? Take a rest. Like you see previously, right? In January, it rested for a week as well, right? Up, down. Then finally, boom. Then Now, maybe rest a while, pump. Above 450, another leg up. Does it make sense about? Right? But overall, it still looks good. And one thing I could do is that same thing, right? Apart from this, the trend, the green, the red, and the blue line, we could also turn on the trailing support. And that's what we done for the stock that you were asking about as well, right? You can see that, well, we got a trailing support popping out since December, right? Follows Micron as it moves up. Are we still above it? We are still above it, all right? Is there space given? There is space because it accounts for the volatility. Right? So it looks pretty bullish, right? You know, as I say, 400 will be a horizontal support level. But if you want to give it more space that accounts for the volatility of Micron, well, it will be somewhere near the 365, right? Because there's some space which is slightly lower. So as long as you stay above the trailing support, things are all looking good. You know, I would say it's poised for even more upside, right? So that could be one of the stocks you could put in your watch list to maybe hopefully write even more strength, all right, as we hit further into 2026. All right, so that would be the bonus stock. My bonus stock for today. And as I said, I mean, today, I know, just want to check, guys. Today, I mean, it's the US market, right? Today's US market. So you know, we basically want to share with you guys in case you did not catch it just now. On a daily basis, we actually share many of those stocks like this, all right, to our clients by WhatsApp. But that's the Singapore market, daily Singapore market updates, ideas, chart description, bullish signals on the chart as well. So in case you're not yet a client of mine in Philip Securities, let's say you want to get some of those ideas, not Micron, Micron is US, right? But Singapore ideas. Link is right in the chat. I think the link probably hidden somewhere. Tim, just place the link in the chat again. I find how you can become a client of ours in Philip Securities. You get more support, more service, one-on-one. I mean, kind of like on the phone, WhatsApp. There's somebody to contact, and also our private trainings as well, and also our daily ideas at no additional cost. Right. So link is right in the chat. Check it out. We look forward to work with you. All right. That's where my broking team could assist you as well more. Okay, guys, so link in the chat, find out how to become a client of mine by having a free trading account under me in Philip Securities. You don't pay anything more. So it's like if you're kind of like trading and then you don't get any service from your own broker, then check it out. Okay. Now, let me pass on the mic to Z to cover her bonus US stock that she likes. Z, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, let me share my screen over here. And the bonus stock that I would like to share with you guys today is none other than Johnson & Johnson. And I think I saw this comment by Ian just now. He's also asking about J&J, right? Thoughts about J&J. You already have a position thinking of accumulating more for upside or, to take profits, right? Because you bought at 135. We will dive into that, right? We will dive right into that. Okay, so for Johnson & Johnson, for those who have been joining us, I think this was also one of the last stock that I've covered somewhere in the middle of January as one of the bonus stock as well. And definitely Johnson & Johnson, I think it still looks great, right? I've turned off the signals first so that we can just purely focus on the trend first, right? But just in case you guys are not aware, right, as you can see over here, I think the results came out not too long ago on the 21st of January, right? 21st of January. And I think that was where you can see that the earnings reported was actually it came in slightly below the estimated consensus. But yet on that day itself, you can see that it's actually a pretty bullish candlestick, right? Very green and very long, right? And also a little bit information about Johnson & Johnson, right? That I just did a quick search on is that this company, J&J, is also one of the 16 big pharmaceutical companies, right, that has kind of like reached an agreement to lower their US drug prices in exchange for exemption from Trump imposed tariffs. So by the way, if you guys don't already know, right, I think Trump is actually doing a lot of like restructuring, right, in his country, right, and that is where I think based on reports in early 2025, in late 2025 and early 2026, right, that is where if pharmaceutical companies, if they don't agree to participate in such agreement with Trump to lower the drug price, right, these companies can potentially face penalties which revolves around like tariffs, right, on those imported drugs and also perhaps the company will be coming under more increased regulatory pressures and scrutiny So yeah, Johnson & Johnson is one of the companies that managed to strike a deal and got into the agreement with Trump, right? And that is where they said that this is they never really disclosed the details but then that is where when they got into this pricing deal, they lower the drug price, they are including a hit of about hundreds of millions of dollars Okay, so yeah, with that in mind, that's just something to note, right, for Johnson & Johnson. But back to the chart is that the chart definitely still looks good, right? It is in what I would call a very beautiful chart okay, because why? The long term, short term, everything is all pointing up, right, in terms of the moving average. And also is that prices have been forming what I call higher supports along the way, right? Because price consistently break resistance, and the resistance turn to become what we call a new higher support, right? So as you can see here, if we look back based on the price action over the past couple of months since last year in Q4, that was where we see, like, you know, initially the support was at $200, psychological support. This was where we saw buying pressure returning, right? And the resistance was back near this 215 lah. This was where selling pressure came in. And then subsequently price break above it. I mean, of course, on earnings day, you know, it actually opened lower, but it managed to quickly, buyers come in, step in, and to close back above the 215. So 215 support will still be valid, right? Will still be valid. And ever since then, price is actually still holding above this 215. So you can see that clearly $200 support level has become higher, become 215, right? Which I would say that will be the immediate support that I'm looking at, right? And in terms of target, based on the analysis that I believe that I did previously on 16th of January as well, you can see that the target that I've drawn here, the resistance is around 230, right? And based on yesterday, we started to see some selling pressure coming in, right? People start to take some profits as well, right? And how did, maybe you might be asking, hey, how do you get this $230 resistance, right? It's very simply based on a projection up. You see right over here, the range that it was trading at 1.5 months, right? You project it up, it's 230, right? And am I surprised to see some selling pressure returning or some pullback happening near this 230? Not really lah, because that is where I already stated that, you know, I already tell myself that, hey, that is the resistance, and resistance, it is normal for selling pressure to come back. It's normal for profit taking to actually happen, right? So if there's some pullback here, perfectly fine, right? And if you have gotten in like previously, or maybe you're holding on to some positions like Ian, right? Very long time ago, you mentioned that you bought at what, 135? Oh, 135 ah. That is very long ago, like 135. I don't know, maybe you bought somewhere, is it, I don't know, 2025 here, or maybe even earlier than that, 2024. Definitely you are sitting on a huge, close to 70% profits even, right? So if you are thinking of taking some profits near this 230 resistance, I think there's nothing wrong, but don't have to take all, because I think the longer term trend definitely still looks intact, right? It definitely still looks intact, right? And in fact, if you are thinking about accumulating some positions, I think that's perfectly fine. And also for those of you guys who don't have any position in this, right, and you're thinking about, I want to get in, right, then where can we potentially be looking at, right? Firstly, definitely near this support, like I've mentioned, right, 215. This was one of the support resistance turned to become a support. But of course, I don't know whether, you know, price will actually go back down to this level for you nicely for you to buy, because it doesn't always happen. Market don't care where you want to buy it, right? But this is where, number one, you can set your price alert, right? You can set your price alert within this zone, maybe 216, 217, 218. Within this support zone, it's always a zone. It's never a specific point, right? So this is the zone that we can potentially monitor to accumulate on the dips, especially if price were to pull back, right, from the resistance. But of course, if it doesn't happen, and what happens is, if price actually break above this 130, then potentially we can be looking at a breakout strategy, right? Because that would mean that your 230 essentially become a new higher support. But of course, it doesn't mean that just break, I straight away buy lah. I want to at least monitor if prices is indeed able to hold firmly above this 230 before taking any action, right? And the upside target, same thing, projection up, that will be close to around 245 if we are taking on a breakout strategy. But of course, breakout strategy inherently, it carries on more risk, right? Because it's a breakout. Make sure to have your stop loss plan in place if prices were to reverse, right? But I think what I would hope to see or monitor if it is actually able to like that consolidate before it actually break out, then I think if you are adopting a breakout strategy, I think this would be, you know, the sustaining would be higher, and the sustainable because it consolidated before actually breaking up, right? And that is just me talking about the chart. I haven't even turned on the signals, right? So if I were to turn on the signals, you all own can see, right? I got 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive 1 GT bullish signal that is still playing out yet, right? That is still playing out yet. So I think definitely this stock is still in my watch list. Is something that I will continue to watch, especially for some of the levels that is mentioned, right? And maybe let me just set together with you guys, right, the price alert, right? So first thing first, definitely I want to set a price alert near this support zone, right? So maybe let me just set it at, maybe let's say 216, right? Let's keep it simple, 216, right? One over here. And of course, the other one, I want to set a price alert where maybe when it breaks out above the 230, right? So that is another alert, right? Around the 232, right? So I've set both of these alert. And the other alert that I also want to set, right, is to set an alert for the 1GT indicator, because if there's another 1GT indicator buy alert that comes out, that would means that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive 1GT bullish signal. Plus, if the trend still is very firm, short term up, long term up, wouldn't that gives you another layer of confirmation that this stock is still pretty good, right? So this is something that definitely I'm still watching. I hope you guys, if you guys like the stock, you can add it into your watch list and monitor some of these levels that were mentioned as well. Okay, so that is for Johnson and Johnson. I'll pass the time over to Jiayi so that he can actually share with you guys his bonus.
All right, thank you, Z. So I'll be covering on the last stock, last bonus stock. So it will be on this counter, Western Digital Corporation, WDC. Believe this counter, I mean, some of you guys should have heard of it. I believe Miguel was also asking about this counter just now. No, WDC tried to set a limit order, but no, seems like it rebounded. How can I do to readjust my entry price and if I need to? So I would say for this counter wise, no, I think this is a bonus stock that I'll be covering on, which you guys can add to your watch list. No, just looking at the big picture wise, this counter actually went up since April, I think after the tariff. Actually it ran up quite a lot from $40 now to the actually 280 level. So if you just look at the chart wise, there's a 1, 2, 3, 1GT bullish signal. And looking at the trend wise, you can also obviously tell that the 20 days, the 100 days, and the 200 days moving average are pointing up, showing that the strength are there. But if you're looking at this counter now, what is the few entry level that you guys can monitor to enter? Or if you're interested, or if you already have this counter, what are the levels to look at to take profit? So I would say previously this counter, back in October, it was actually kept below this 140, and after October, it actually broke above 140 and show more strength. So it was trading around that 140 to maybe that 190, and subsequently in start of this year, Jan, it broke above this 190 and went up to 280. So if we would just do some simple projection, previously when it was 140 to that 190, it was around that $50 range. If we project upwards, 190 to 240, that was the range that was trading in January, and it managed to broke above this level just a few days back and went up to that 280 or 290 level. So currently, I would say if you just look at the chart wise, now the counter is actually near a resistance level, maybe at 290 to 300 level. How would the price move moving forward? No, we never know. But we always see that near a resistance level, prices always, sellers always come in to take profit. Cost could be they previously bought it at 140. Now's a good time for them to secure profit. So just looking at this wise, I would say currently the support is near the 240 and the resistance is near that 290 to 300 level. So if you're looking to enter now, might not be a good time to enter. So best would be actually to wait for it to maybe pull back to that 240 level, which is near support level. And if you were to turn on that trailing support, you can see that the trailing support is actually near that 220, which is also near the 20 days moving average. Wouldn't know whether the price will actually come back down to that 220, but if you enter near the support of 240, the risk to reward ratio will be much better than as compared to if you were to enter near 260, 270. So currently, if you look at this counter, I would say it's not a good time to enter. Best is to monitor to see how the price move. If it comes back down to that 240 level, you might consider to enter, which you can also set an alert. Or if prices break above this 290 to 300 level, there might be more upside, which you can also enter if prices break above this 300 psychological resistance level. Yep. So Western Digital is also one of the counter that I'm monitoring, and you can also add to the watch list. Yeah, and I think with that, I'll pass on my time. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, so actually these are some of the counters that we also cover in our newsletter as well. So clients under us, even though they receive SG stock updates on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, we actually have a monthly newsletter, which we also cover on 3 US stock as well, which clients who are interested in US stocks can also look out for those newsletter on a monthly basis. So if you are a client under us, I believe you have been receiving this newsletter on a monthly basis, and I believe TSM was also one of the counter that we covered previously, and Micron is also one of the counter as well. So if you are not a client under us, you can actually sign up to be a client under us and receive this monthly newsletter and also the daily WhatsApp broadcast as well. So yeah, I think the link is below. So those who are interested, you can just join as a client under us and see how moving forward how we can actually add value to you as well. Yeah, if not, I'll pass on my time back to Joey.
All right, thank you so much, Jia. All right, and there we have it. There we have it, guys. There are a total of like 15 stocks that you asked covered, and me, Z, and Jia covered 3 bonus stocks. So I hope you like this stock. I think some of you are saying, well, not too bad, right? MU, WCDC are wonderful stocks, immune from the AI hype to an extent, right? So I'm glad that you like this stock. Put it in your watch list. You don't have to buy it like straight away. Monitor it. Put in your watch list. Watch for a few days. Hopefully it doesn't go up more, right? But yeah, we hope you like this stock, right? So the 3 stocks, Micron, J and J by Z, and Jia just covered on Western Digital. All right. So yeah, we hope that you guys got value. And I think Jia mentioned as well, right? We do send out some of these stock ideas on a daily basis, right? And that is by our WhatsApp, right? It's faster. It's much faster, right? Every morning, I personally sift through more than 100 stocks, right? Get alert set, I get alerted to it, and that's where I do a little bit of analysis, and I decide on the stocks to send out to our clients in Phillip Securities, right? So if you are not getting our ideas daily by WhatsApp, you're not getting any ideas from your own broker. I mean, you need a a trading account to buy and sell stocks, right? So please check it out, all right? And get some of these ideas. The link is right in the chat. Check it out. Click on it. Get in touch with my team. My team will guide you a little bit more on how to have a free trading account under me in Phillip Securities, and that's where you could get these ideas much faster. And also join us in this live call as well, just to be a bit more acquainted with our strategy, the tools that we're using as well. All right, so that's it, guys. Muyak 3, guys, please do consider joining Joey's bootcamp this year. It's worth an investment. Thank you so much for your kind word, Yak 3. All right, yeah, so that's where we pretty much share a bit of the strategy and stuff, but we don't have any webinars planned for now, right? So I would say do be on our email list, be a client, say link in the chat, check it out, and that's where we have any webinars planned, we will let you know, and you can learn a bit more on the strategy. All right, okay, so that's it, guys. Thank you so much. We have let's see, right? Thank you, Dave. Thank you, June, as well. Geneva Lo, Ajif, ABC. Anything to add, Z? Anything to add?
Thank you so much everyone for actually joining us. So just to remind you guys, next week we will be having our Singapore AMAS lah. So so sorry if we didn't manage to actually cover some of the US stocks today, like Simon, right, you mentioned. Yeah, so sorry you did not have time, but not to worry, right? Not to worry, because definitely, like I mentioned earlier on, your account is actually in the midst of being transferred, right? So our broking team will actually reach out to you, right? So they are also very, very well versed with the entire 1GT framework and the strategy. So when you're on the call with them, feel free to ask them as well, right? Just because we did not manage to cover your stock, but feel free to come and join us, the subsequent session if you still like to hear our opinion on, some of the US stocks. But next week, we will be doing Singapore stocks, and it will be 3 of us again, right? Because I believe Berlin will be taking a short break. So I hope to see more of you guys, or the same names, right, coming back and joining us next week. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you for staying all the way to now. All right. And so apologies again. I forget to apologize if we did not cover your US stock. There's more than 50 over US stocks. Really no time to cover everything, but we try our best. Also, hopefully the next Friday, we'll cover your US or your Singapore stock. So next Friday, we'll be back to Singapore. Okay, Ken? Okay. Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.